Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Welcome into 104.5 The Zone. We're happy to have you. It's just Robert and me with you today. Lucas helping Ramon out at Greystone Golf Club this morning. We've got Adam Sparks on the show. The Vols have an interesting matchup against Mississippi State tomorrow. We'll preview that game. We'll talk about the desperation of the Tennessee Titans to get a win in Houston on Sunday. I will leave tomorrow morning for that trip and see what there is to see between the Titans and the Texans. Robert, the last place the Tennessee Titans won a game in late November of 2024, Week 12, was at Houston. They have not won a game since. Perhaps this will work for them.
I thought you would want to open up talking about that ass whooping last night.
In the Thursday night football game?
No, of course I'm talking about the ECU Pirates stomping out Army. Just had to come all the way to Greenville.
What do you have against our armed services?
I don't have anything against the armed services.
Thank them for their service first before you denigrate their football team.
Thank you for your service.
He's saluting right now for those of you not watching on Zone TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You can also call us. We'll get to your phone calls here shortly. 615-737-1045 is the number.
But the whole reason I'm a big hater of Army, Navy, Air Force is because they beat the snot out of ECU every opportunity. If you've ever like to laugh and feel better about your college program, go look at the scores from the history of Navy ECU. They will be smatterings of 75-6, 56-2. We just got we got stomped out by Navy, Army, Air Force, everybody.
Oh, you were doing a pirate impression.
Or Tim Allen from Tool Time. You never watched it? Or what was that show called with Tim Allen?
It's not called Tool Time, right?
No,
Tool Time's the fake show that he hosts.
Home Improvement. Thank you, Justin. Justin with the assist there. Oh, that's right.
Adam on YouTube, where you can interact, as I mentioned, says, lazy of Lucas to not show up to work. I agree.
What's wrong with him?
Bad job out of him.
Dude, he gets a big head and a big ass and thinks he just doesn't have to come into work anymore.
Well, it's funny because he already had both of those, and now he's entitled on top of all of it. So it's a big ego, a big head, and a big ass.
They did a great job today, though, with the Fight DMD. 3HL will be back out there. You can listen to them. They're going to be in Dixon today. So great time by all. They had a great interview on the show. If you missed it, I'm sure it'll be podcasted.
Who did they interview?
I can't remember his name, but he was the head of the DMD Association.
Oh, okay.
And it was a tearjerker. I was crying on the way in from work. If you missed
that, it's a great interview. I don't remember who they interviewed, but it was great.
I don't know the cat's name, but he was very good at describing the hardships that come with families dealing with DMD. So 3HL will be back out there today.
Okay, very good. So there's a couple of different things that are worth talking about here, but. Robert, I don't have Calvin Ridley and his hand-eye coordination goggles. I don't know what else to call them in the grid today, and I don't want to make fun of somebody who's trying to improve, but I do think it is a bit ridiculous that you have a $92 million player on your roster that is being reduced to specialized goggles to help him catch the football, as if that's going to fix Calvin Ridley's confidence. I cannot, if you've not seen, Terry Marlin, Lucas has texted us, is who they interviewed from Fight DMD today. So you can check out that interview as Robert mentioned. Lucas finally participating in the show. So, the Calvin Ridley of it all. What do you do with the $92 million man that is a bit broken? No? I mean, even in the locker room, the resignation of, I don't know what else to do other than to do my job better, but if it's a confidence thing, they can't really help him with his own internal lack of confidence. And it's crazy because Calvin Ridley has not had a confidence issue until the regular season started. There was nothing that would have broken him prior to the season beginning. I know he was dealing with a little, just a little bit of soreness coming out of the preseason, so he didn't play in the final two or the last two preseason games, but there wasn't anything in the offseason program. There wasn't a drops issue during training camp. There wasn't an issue when he played in the preseason game in Tampa Bay. And you looked around and you said, all right, that's fine. Let's see the young guys, and you don't have to worry about Calvin Ridley. That's even something that Brian Callahan said. We know what we have in Calvin. Well, okay. And Nate Washington came on this radio show, not yesterday. He did yesterday, and he was good about kind of getting into helping relate Calvin Ridley's situation to his own situation when he first signed with the Titans. We'll get to that audio or a portion of that audio here in just a second. But talking about Brian Callahan and what he thought he had in Calvin Ridley, Nate's whole point was, well, I don't know if we know what we have in Brian Callahan. For him to be making these determinations, which is, again, something that is critical to the success and the support of players who do need it, even if they are highly compensated. This is the curious part about the regime change, the constant regime change that it seems like we're getting ready to go through again, whether it be Monday when we get back from Houston because they lose, Tuesday because that's her preferred day to fire people, or at the end of the season, whenever this comes about. But it does feel like there's just kind of an axe looming above Brian Callahan's professional neck at this point in time, and it feels like we're getting ready to go through it again. There are specific people, like Bo Hardigree, who was a big part of the Cam Ward pre-draft process. Cam talked about that. Rand Carthon was a huge part of Calvin Ridley, Devondre Sweat, Jarvis Brownlee, James Williams, a great many other players, Kenneth Murray. Now, some of them haven't worked out. Some of them we are waiting to see, but they felt that they could trust Rand Carthon. They felt that they could connect with Rand Carthon, and then they fired Rand Carthon at the organization, and Calvin Ridley is looking around for somebody to relate to, and he doesn't have that. And Jarvis Brownlee is looking around for somebody who understands him, and he doesn't have that. This is a part of the problem with as much turnover as they've had, and it feels like we're getting ready to go through it again.
So this all spawned out of the Calvin Ridley goggles, which if you haven't seen it, Tyke Tolbert has Calvin Ridley wearing goggles that are kind of akin to horse blinders.
They look like human horse blinders.
Where it's almost like tanning booth glasses, because in the corners, that's the only area that's available to see through. Everything else is blocked out. So in their theory, it would help him focus more on the ball and not the open space around the ball, so he can focus on that. I wrote a parody of Betty Davis eyes.
Oh, no.
And I didn't know if you would like to tease this.
I don't want to do it here because we have SEC observations, but SEC stat of the day, but obviously Lucas is not here, and unless you want to do SEC stat of the day, I'm not going to do it.
My stat of the day is the SEC is inferior to the ACC. That's my stat of the day.
What statistical information do you have to back that up? Beyond Dabo Swinney at 1-3, floundering about at press conferences.
Well, the SEC hasn't been in a national championship game in 2 years.
I suppose. Food for thought.
Yeah, that's my SEC stat of the day, brought to you by SEC Stinks. I'm so jealous.
Don't do that to me, because you don't have to take these people's calls. You just get to field them, you get to put them on hold, and you get to scurry away, go smoke your cigarettes, and watch me have to fend off your malfeasance.
Yes. What do you feel like the worst fans to call in would be, so I can poo-poo their fan base real quick?
Probably those Ole Miss fans that accosted me that one time.
They suck.
Stop it.
Oh, Ole Miss. Ole Miss, as in Old Maid, as in Lane Kiffin's Over the Hill, as in Chambliss. Isn't that a daggum wine?
Trinidad Chambliss.
Chambly? I mean, they're going to be drinking LSU's going to be drinking a glass of Chambly this weekend. It's my SEC smack
It
talk.
does sound like a lovely cocktail, doesn't it? Trinidad Chambliss. Like
yes.
Cavassier smoke.
Yes, this is a 1942 Chambly, yes.
Anyway, I don't want to hear your Calvin Ridley parody song yet.
Okay.
We can do that later on. What I do want to hear from is the audience. 615-737-1045 is how you can participate. Like I said, Adam Sparks of the Knoxville News Sentinel will join us coming up next, and we will talk about the Vols' trip down to Starkville, where Ramon Foster is already, well, I suppose he would be on his way rather shortly. I guess Slay's going too, is my understanding. So they've brought their own orange cowbells to rattle around when Mississippi State's on offense to give the Bulldogs a taste of their own medicine. But let's start with Mayor Ron this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, Bert, that Wild thing, what Charlie Sheen played, is that what we're going to start calling really now with his glasses like the movie?
Hey, you'd have to.
Well, I usually do poems in the morning. They didn't have time for me this morning because they were doing some good work out there at Greystone. And I'm going to spit off this poem here and see what y'all think.
Okay.
My fellow Titan fans, a desperate mindset to see things clear. Brian said, take a look at the man in the mirror. A trip to Houston last year, victory. It's been a while. That win 10 games ago, the last time we saw Miss Amy smile. Callie said, ball your fist up and go fight like hell. My plays are good. We just got to get into a rhythm and gel. Cameron's growth is tremendous. He's figuring it out quick. Let's turn the play calling over to Bo and watch it click. Peter is the best at guard, and Snead is looking for who? We lost a true dog on D. Now he's wearing green, not blue. Oilers, Titans, Texans come back together as one name. We claim Texas if we play the duration of the game. Texans, you're just in the way. We're trying to heal and get right. Desperation, our back is against the wall, so let's fight. There you go, Buck.
Well done. Well done. That was beautifully written and well executed by you, Ron. Thank you for the poem this morning. We'll see if they can use it for a bit of inspiration. Now, I do want to talk about Brian Callahan's messaging around this game because it will shock no one, disagree.
I'm aghast.
Oh, it's so hard being right all the time, Robert.
How would you know?
So we'll get to that a little later, but we do need to talk about some good football. Let's talk about the SEC. Let's talk about the Vols trying to continue their success against an interesting Mississippi State team that is looking a little friskier than all of us anticipated. Adam Sparks of the Knoxville News Sentinel next. There is nothing that's worse than an HVAC emergency or dealing with a plumbing issue or an electrical emergency that you were not anticipating or expecting. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost or if it'll get fixed correctly or if someone is just trying to sell you something. That's when you call Hiller. Their experts are going to solve your problems post-haste. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical is there to help you. They have a 100% satisfaction guarantee of happy you'll be or the service is free. The price you're told is the price that you'll actually pay. There's no hidden fees or surprises on your bill. So book online now at happyhiller.com. That's happyhiller.com today. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Adam Sparks wishes he worked only 9 to 5. It's a full-time job documenting all things Tennessee Volunteers, especially with a football program getting ready to play what feels like its first true road game of the 2025 season tomorrow when they visit Mississippi State. It's been a while since these two teams have played in Starkville specifically. Adam, good morning. How are you? Thanks for hopping on.
Not bad, not bad. Good to be on. Yeah, I've been more recently, I guess, than Tennessee has because I covered Vandy there a couple times. But it was weird to ask some of the players this week, like, hey, what do you think about the atmosphere you're going into? And it wasn't like it was curious was the word. They're like, oh, this is a big sort of a neat experience to play with 60,000 cowbells around you. It was almost sounded, it wasn't a disrespect, but it almost sounded like they saw it as a novelty, like something they've seen on Instagram or something that they want to go, want to go get the selfie of. And, hey, look, I'm in the place with all the cowbells. So we'll see how they handle it.
Yeah, it's like something you see on National Geographic. You're confused by it. You're curious by it. You want to experience it yourself, like a safari a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. And those things actually can, I mean, they can affect a game, but I've always thought they can affect a game in different ways than just crowd. They're more of an annoyance. Like just sort of a buzzing in your ear is what it comes off as. Like obviously there, and I've experienced with this, the Vandy Whistler, right? The Vandy Whistlers, plural, never really affected players like communication or anything. Obviously it's just a whistle, but it's more just I wish that would stop. That's sort of the annoyance that, at least in my experience, that cowbells have been at Mississippi State.
I mean, I suppose if an irritant throws your opponent just slightly off, then it's having the desired effect. Adam Sparks is where you can follow along. Of course, knoxnews.com is where you can read all the great work that he and his colleagues are doing. So Lucas brought this up on the show. It was either yesterday or the day before, Adam, and the talking point of Josh Heupel coached Tennessee teams in road games, specifically SEC road games. Has that been a conversation in Knoxville around Vols fans this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's always any time that Tennessee goes on the road against what's seen as an inferior opponent, even by a small margin, it's always the fear that they're going to drop that one. When you go to Georgia, you think, Tennessee's probably going to lose, but who knows? Let's see what happens. When you go to Alabama, similar. But, they've been shell-shocked a little bit. The fan base has. The last 3 years, they lost to an unranked South Carolina that derailed their playoff shot in 22. They lost to an unranked Florida early in 23. They lost to unranked Arkansas last year, which ended up being the reason that Tennessee didn't host a playoff game. And so they expect one of these per year. And with Josh Heupel, if you look at the road games he's got, this is probably more likely than any where you would lose a game that you should win on the road. And so, there's a little bit of a trepidation with this one. I had the story this week that laid out some of the numbers and data to show that Josh Heupel is not as bad of a road coach as you would think. Again, fans think he's great at home, which he is, and he's terrible on the road. It's not that he's good on the road. His road record in the SEC is 7-9, so that's not good. It's 44% winning percentage. The thing is, though, the average for the SEC is 41%. He's actually above the average. There's only, I think, 4 teams in the conference during his tenure with a better road record. He has only Georgia and Alabama have more top 25 SEC road wins than Josh Heupel during his tenure. So sort of the point of the story, and there's a ton of data that I've got in there, is that, I'll give you one more. Since Josh Heupel has been at Tennessee, there's been 49 times that an SEC team has lost on the road to an unranked team. 49 times. Josh Heupel has 3 of those. So those 3 really give Tennessee fans anxiety, but it's just sort of, hey, let's step back and look around. What Josh Heupel has done usually on the road, it's not that it's just the norm, it's a little better than the norm. And so some perspective, I know fans don't necessarily want to hear that because those road losses hurt as much as anything, but losing on the road to a team you should probably beat actually happens to every team about once a year.
Yeah, it's like anything else in sports, no matter what sport you're talking about or you cover or coaches that you talk about on a regular basis. There are things that fan bases tend to hyperfixate on, and as coaches will tell you, or as anybody who works on the team side of things will tell you, it's never as bad as it seems. It's also never as good as it seems, depending on which situation that you're talking about. Vegas clearly views Tennessee as the superior team, even though Mississippi State has had a nice start to the season. They're currently undefeated at 4-0, a 7.5-point favorite, depending on which sports book that you're looking at. For you, what are you most curious to see about this team, this Tennessee team, against the Bulldogs this weekend, Adam, as far as the matchups go?
I want to see the cat and mouse between Tennessee's offense, Mississippi State's defense. Mississippi State has had some issues at times in these first 4 games, despite being undefeated, of stopping the run. You would think that they're going to dedicate an extra man in the box to stop the run, because Tennessee will run it and run it and run it until you stop it. And Josh Heupel always has believed in establishing the run first. Once they do that, and you would think they may even do that very early in the game to start the game. Once they do that, there's going to be seam routes, sideline routes, deep routes open for Joey Aguilar, and Tennessee's going to need to hit those. I mean, the difference in what we've seen in a small sample size this year with this offense compared to the past 2 years is that in the past 2 years, when that would happen and those routes would open up, just a numbers game, Joe Milton hit some of them, but not enough. Nico hit some of them, but not enough. So far in 4 games, Joey Aguilar has hit almost all of them. And so when that happens, when Tennessee runs the ball, Mississippi State says we're going to dedicate ourselves to stopping the run. When things open up in the passing game, then does Joey Aguilar and those receivers hit them? Because if they do, Tennessee's going to win by double digits. If they don't, then you're going to be in a back and forth, pretty tough road game.
UAB obviously didn't threaten them last week, but what we saw when Tennessee hosted Georgia was a track meet that I don't know that anybody was really expecting. Again, not that Vegas knows all, but certainly the odds makers weren't expecting the over or the point total to be as high as it was, and I don't think anybody really knew what to make of either quarterback at that point in time, given that was their first real SEC test for Gunnar Stockton and Joey Aguilar. Defensively, though, for Tennessee, we understand that the attrition has hit them early and often, specifically in the secondary. What have been the talking points from the coaching staff, from the players heading into Starkville, understanding that the Mississippi State quarterback is playing at a pretty high level now that he's healthy?
Yeah, I mean, Josh Heupel, and I asked him about this in the postgame last game, how has injuries impacted things? And he gave the right answer. He says that nobody cares what the impact of injuries on this defense. But he knows they do. We know they do. And this is sort of a get-over-the-hump game in terms of injuries on that side, because they're getting Jackson Moy back, who's their starting defensive tackle. He got hurt just a few plays into the season. They get him back now. That should help the run. That should help the run defense. Should help the pass rush quite a bit. And then David Hobbs, defensive tackle. They think they will get him for the first time this year after the bye week for the Arkansas game. They're hoping to get Jermod McCoy, their All-American corner, him back possibly for the Arkansas game after next week's bye week. So you're sort of in a get through this game, play well enough defensively, and you could be pretty strong coming out of the off week. Their pass rush has been pretty good. It's well ahead of last year's sack total. Secondary has been up and down. It really depends on what the competition is. Again, it's a get over the hump game too, in terms of pass defense, because I looked at some of the mock drafts this week where I check every week to see where Jermod McCoy is at. He tore his ACL, hadn't played yet. Like the CBS mock draft has him number 1 corner, a number 11 pick of next year's draft. And this week, Colton Hood, his substitute corner there, is mid first round, number 16 pick in the CBS mock draft. So what that tells me is if you can get Jermod McCoy back in a couple of weeks and Colton Hood is still there, you have 2 first-round picks at corner for Tennessee for the stretch run for the second half of the season. So there's that carrot out there that if you can get through this game and play well enough, you potentially could be a lot stronger in the back half of the season.
Did I read correctly that McCoy is targeting, I know they haven't put any timelines on it specifically, but that the thought is that he's trying to be ready for the Arkansas game at home?
That's the hope. It's always been sort of a October-ish, maybe even late September. There's a few reasons why Arkansas looks like it. Is that, number one, you get a bye week, so that gives him an extra week of recovery and rehab and all that sort of stuff to get ready because they're off next week. And then beyond that, the other reason is that after the Arkansas game's Alabama, you don't want his first game to be Alabama. You would like him to have sort of a quote-unquote warm-up game and then have that under his belt when they go to Alabama the next week. For all those reasons, they would like him to get back for the Arkansas game. He would like to be back already. But it lines up that way. And that's about 9 months out from his ACL tears in January. The elite athletes sometimes can get back in about 9 months, and that's right around where he would be.
At Adam Sparks is where you follow the great Adam Sparks, the Knoxville News Sentinel. He's going to be documenting, and always does document, all things Tennessee football with knoxnews.com. I know that you, as a reporter, you do this better than most, Adam, just kind of, play the straight and narrow and not come in with too many opinions or expectations and just cover the season that's in front of you and the team that's in front of you. But that Georgia result got a lot of people thinking about where this team could actually overachieve relative to what the fan base's expectation or pundits' expectations might have been. How important then is it for them to go to Mississippi State to win in decisive fashion to start to build a resume for a college football playoff scenario that I think many people really didn't expect them to have?
Yeah, the Georgia game was sort of a proof of concept of their offense that it can measure up. The funny thing is, Tennessee playing well and winning the game at Mississippi State will sort of reinforce what they did in the Georgia game. But also, if Georgia beats Alabama, that would reinforce it even more. That tells you, hey, they should have nearly beat possibly the best team in the country in Georgia. Coming out of that game, I think locally the fan base was like, oh, missed an opportunity, not going to get another one like that. Where nationally, the stock of Tennessee went up in that loss. And so I think nationally people looked at it and said, okay, well, if they can do that against Georgia, then they're a playoff caliber team. We just have to see it week to week. This offense to me feels like 2022 a little bit. I'm not saying Joey Aguilar is Hendon Hooker, Chris Brazel's not Jalen Hyatt, but if you remember the feel of that season was you went into every game of every week and said, as long as it's not Georgia, they can score 50 on anybody. Maybe win, maybe lose, or let's say 40, can score 40 on anybody. And I think that just opens up so many possibilities that you don't have to think about like an Arkansas game last year where they lost that game because they couldn't score 24 points or something. That shouldn't be the case this year. That should be if they get beat, they're getting beat 38-35 or something like that. So Josh Heupel's more comfortable in that. Like, let's race to 40 points. So he likes where this team is right now. I think he likes it a lot more than the one he coached last year.
You brought up something interesting because not just because the Georgia-Alabama game is fascinating and we're looking to learn more about those two programs specifically, especially given the early drama around Kalen DeBoer's program in Tuscaloosa. But the idea that, one, Georgia could do what Georgia fans don't expect them to do just because they're traumatized by Alabama, which is to beat Alabama. But then Alabama, in this hypothetical, Adam, and you have unique experience because you've covered both Vanderbilt and Tennessee as a beat reporter, the idea that Alabama could lose, could host Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt could be the higher-ranked team. Could you ever have imagined a world like this?
No, not at all. I mean, Alabama having a down year, yeah, maybe. Vandy being this good, maybe the two things aligning at the same time. That's hard to see, but it's absolutely realistic. And also, I'll say the difference between this Vandy team, let's say from mid-season last year to now, and the Vandy teams that have had some success before, some under Derek Mason, some under James Franklin, I do think there's just more depth, more talent on this one. This seems more sustainable, I guess is what I'm saying. I think what Vandy's put on the field in the past year tells you there's a decent chance that they're pretty good 2 years from now. Where I felt like the past Vandy teams of the past 15 years that were good, it always felt like it may just be for that year or that year and next. I think they built something pretty well there.
Buddy, I appreciate your time. Enjoy Starkville if Starkville is a place that can be enjoyed, and we'll talk to you down the road.
All right, good to be on.
That's the main man, Adam Sparks, Knoxville News Sentinel, knoxnews.com.
Love you, Adam. Love you. I love you too, Bert. Great guy, Adam.
You know what? I robbed you of an opportunity to do that because I think Sparks would be particularly funny to see how he responded to that, and I hung up on him before he could have an opportunity to hear you profess your love.
That's what it was. That's what it was. That's why he didn't say anything back.
Yeah, kind of like me and Bruce Feldman that one time where you were playing him opera music in the background and he was confused.
I was working. I think Bruce would say it back. I know someone who will say it back. He's going to be on the show at 11:20.
Coach Mack.
That is correct.
Coach Dave McInness will be on the show at 11:20. I've been thinking about how to talk to Mac about this. I really don't know what to do about the Titans, the state of the Titans, and to not put Coach Mack in a less than favorable situation. But he does have experience of coaching in pressurized environments, and he could speak not on behalf of Brian Callahan that way, but at least from the perspective of a coach who's dealing with some ancillary factors beyond just having a roster that's less than. So we will do that at 11:20 today. Do we have things to give away for Friday Fire at 11:45?
I'm sure we do. I should probably know those, right?
Well, it would also be incumbent on the people whose job it is to fill the nebulous prize bucket to tell you that we have things to give away prior to starting the show.
It's coming. Okay, just
everyone
work amongst yourselves.
But to just kind of put a bow on Adam's points there, and Adam having the perspective of Vanderbilt and Tennessee after having spent considerable time. He's not been in Knoxville as long as he was here in Nashville covering Vandy. But what he's saying about Vanderbilt building something sustainable, that has to feel so good. So good. Beyond, the feel good that Tennessee fans have, and I know there's a little bit of BVS, battered Vols syndrome this week, because that you weren't expecting to have higher stakes situations in a year where a lot of people were telling you, best case scenario, you win 7 or 8 games. I think at the most rational level of discourse around Tennessee. But for Vandy to be told that what you're building is sustainable, that you see proof of concept, that you see depth on the roster beyond just, Diego Pavia if he decides to stay in college Van Wilder style, Bert Kreischer style, and go for the full 10 if he wants to sue his way back into eligibility. Man, that's got to feel good on West End. Good for Vanderbilt. They got Utah State this weekend? I believe Utah State is the upcoming opponent.
Do you know what else was built sustainably? That would be the Impractical Jokers empire. Anytime you tune into True TV, Impractical Jokers will be on there, and you could be in there being a show by Sal Vulcano, who was on Impractical Jokers. That is what you can win with your Friday Fire submission.
You just said a bunch of words that I have no concept of.
If you saw this guy's face, you would. You probably never even watched Impractical Jokers.
No,
you're more of a practical joker. Yes, you're more of a practical joker.
The last prank show that I watched, I assume it's a prank show.
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe it's not live, but they do live stunts.
It's very what was the Punked? It's very.
That's the last show I watched like that was Ashton Kutcher and Punked.
Yeah,
seeing Zach Braff from Scrubs just absolutely lose his bleep on a kid in a very pretentious fashion was one of my favorite moments. It stuck with me a little bit.
He was incredibly rude. Someone who had a saving grace because of Punked. Stone Cold Steve Austin looks like a genuine good person because of his interaction on Punked, yes. But if you'd like to see Sam Vulcano come to Nashville for the Nashville Comedy Fest next year in April, you can give us a call.
All right. Not yet.
No, not yet. And if you call up being like, I want to go see Sal, and I say, okay, do you have a Friday Fire? A what? You have to have a submission.
Be like Sneed, who?
Who? Who? What?
It's so annoying when they don't listen. But if you want to listen and you want to participate in Friday Fire at 11:45 for the opportunity to win those tickets, we will expect you to come prepared with your Friday Fire, your moment of positivity. So I'm giving you an hour to figure out what that's going to be. Now, typically, if Lucas was here, Lucas was helping out with Ramon on the morning show because Will's at the Ryder Cup. We are going to do a little, we don't ever do golf, but I love the Ryder Cup, and Brett Kern loves golf. So when Brett Kern comes in studio, we will do the pick segment like we normally do. We'll also talk a little bit of golf because by the time Brett gets in here, the round this morning should be wrapped up. Will is at the Ryder Cup this morning, which I know.
should call Will. We should get an update.
I mean, okay.
I don't like bothering people when they're on vacation. I thought you would shut it down. I thought you would be like,
why would
no.
I shut it down? Oh, you wanted me to be the jerk.
Yes,
you wanted
I
to
was
put
trying
me in
to
a corner there.
Yes.
So
You've seen through my ruse.
I bobbed and weaved.
Yeah. You're able to see it coming.
You know who can't see football coming? Calvin Ridley. We're going to play a parody song about Calvin Ridley and his horse blinder goggles coming up next. Erectile dysfunction can wreck your confidence. It can impact your relationship, your mental health, and even your sense of identity. But the good news is there's real help. Since 2014, the Tennessee Men's Clinic has helped thousands of guys get back to feeling like themselves. They aren't cookie-cutter treatments that they offer at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. They're urology-based and staffed with multiple licensed providers who specialize in men's sexual health issues. They use proven treatments tailored to your specific situation, so no one size fits all. Whether you're dealing with mild or moderate ED, performance issues, or even conditions like Peyronie's disease, their medical team will work with you to create a plan that gets results, often with options most guys didn't even know were out there. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes a full medical consultation, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose right there in the office. Call now at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or book easily online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. So I mentioned that Brett Kern is going to be with us in the noon hour. Coach Mack at 11:20. We will talk football with Brett Kern. We will also talk golf. The Ryder Cup is on. The USA is struggling. Not ideal. So we will get into some golf analysis a little bit later. In the meantime, though, we have talked a great deal, obviously, about the Titans. Nobody wants their football season to be over before the month of October, but the Titans are teetering very much at 0-3, facing another 0-3 team. A game that matters to ownership more than any other regular season game at Houston. A game they won last year, that they had no business winning. Now, the Houston Texans were not a great football team last year, even though they did win a playoff game. The Houston Texans are hardly a good team this year, but they do. Robert, when have you seen a team, before we play this Calvin Ridley parody song about Calvin's glasses, when have you seen a team ranked 32nd in success rate on offense, the way that the Houston Texans are, favored by a whole touchdown? The Texans are 7-point favorites at home. Home field good for 3, we understand this, but 7-point favorites for a team ranked last in success rate. God.
Is it bad that I would still take them for a touchdown?
The Texans?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Like, I just don't see I don't know. And the plan at right tackle is still to be discussed. We haven't really gotten to them adding Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon into any deep detail, but it seems like they are trying to find another way to fix this in the absence of J.C. Latham. That defense in front is so scary.
Yeah, they're good.
I like, even with the repaired offensive line, this is probably the best Titans offensive line in 4 years, 3 years. And it's still not going to make a difference. It is not going to make a difference because when it comes to the offensive line, it's just like a dam. If there is a hole anywhere, if there is a weak spot anywhere, it will compromise. And I just feel like they're in a similar situation where they're going to have to be very creative as to how they help this right tackle.
It's just funny because I think it was Dixie in the F&M Bank chat yesterday where you can interact with the show, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You can also call us, 615-737-1045, if you would like to weigh in on the Vols and the Bulldogs. You can talk about the Titans and the Texans. You can talk about Brian Callahan's messaging of being the more desperate team, which I despise, respectfully. I'll explain more why later. But I think it was Dixie on the F&M Bank chat on YouTube that said yesterday something to the effect of Brian Callahan in his introductory press conference, or one of his early press conferences when he first took this job last year, talked about ways to scheme around less than offensive line play, like poor offensive line play, things that you could do to make it work. But if you're not just trying to scheme around poor offensive line play, but offensive linemen that just can't stop getting penalties. I don't know what the solution is there. Obviously, they don't either. Otherwise, they would not be as god-awful as they are. It is insane to think that they are worse than a season where they started Will Levis. But save Cam Ward, right? They seem to be worse in just about every other department.
And there's a nuanced conversation to be had about looking at records flatly. I don't disagree with you. But I think that there is something to be said about someone in Will Levis's position who was in his second year in the offense. They made a lot of additions around him to try to make it look like a souped-up team, even with as far as back as Lloyd getting hurt. Lloyd coming back from an injury, not being his full self. There's a bunch of different things you could look at in there. But at this point, I don't even need them to win. I don't need them to win. They can go 0-17.
Oh, no, we don't need them at all, basically. I mean, other than to use as a punching bag to help fans express their frustrations. Robert, they haven't helped us as a show. They haven't helped us as a show since October of 2022.
Is that when they fired Vrabel?
No, they fired Mike in what was that, January 24.
Every time they fire someone, they help us inadvertently. So I would say that when they fired Rand and Vrabel, that inadvertently helped us. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I did the radio show from Green Bay the morning after on 2 hours sleep after Todd Downing got the DUI, and then they didn't win again that season. I've never seen anything like it. So, I mean, for some reason, bless you, all of you who interact with this show on a regular basis, the show has been wildly successful, and it's been with horrific football. And maybe it's because I'm better when I'm angry about things and they make me insane. So if I was in a position the way that I was for the first 6 years of my career covering good football, maybe the show would be less compelling if I didn't have quite as much edge as I do at this point, but they don't do anything to help us, and the show is still successful that way. Not to brag on ourselves, but we barely need them at all at this point. Other than the hope of Cam Ward, I think really, really it matters. You know, somebody who has worked in professional football for 40 years, conversation I was having earlier this week.
What's their name?
Huh?
What's their name?
I will not. I was having a conversation about what the hell the Titans do. And this person, whom I very much trust and who does not make rash decisions or emotional decisions, said they need to do something that just genuinely gets their fans to care about them again. They need to hire John Gruden. And I balked a little bit because that's like something I read on my Twitter mentions. Like, that's not real. Come on. John Gruden's not going to work in the NFL again.
But we said the same thing about Harbaugh, right?
No, I know. Who they didn't even bother to talk to. It's a conversation for another day. Anyway, so Calvin Ridley doesn't catch passes. His catch percentage right now is 40%. He has, to date, 4 drops credited to him by Pro Football Focus. Now, that may not be how they have graded him, but that's the numbers that we have at our disposal. And we understand that maybe there's a little more, maybe there's a little less, but Calvin Ridley has not been an effective player. They are taking desperate measures to get Calvin Ridley right, including these specially designed glasses that look a bit like human horse blinders to help Calvin Ridley focus solely on the football as opposed to anything that might be in his peripheral. So, Robert, to pay tribute to the things and the measures, the desperate measures that they are taking to get Calvin Ridley right, you've written a song?
I have, to the tune of Betty Davis Eyes, but this one would be called Calvin Ridley Eyes. Now, see, I had a bunch of different options. I could have went with Hungry Eyes, but I wanted to give hope that there would be a day that Calvin Ridley could have better eyes.
I mean, he did this stuff last year. By the way, well done by you.
Yeah, we threw it together.
And for those of, like, somebody says, tighten up anchor down is the YouTube handle. Says, love the lack of audio on the YouTube stream. Yeah,
no bleep! We have been telling y'all this for years.
Are you dumb?
We can't play music, anything that's copyrighted on YouTube. I swear.
It's a licensing issue.
All you mouth-breathing YouTube people, I love you.
I was going to call him a mouth breather.
I love you guys, but how many times have we gone over this? You're like a child. It's like, no, you can't have chocolate. You're allergic. It's like, oh, but we want chocolate. Why can't I have chocolate? Go to the app.
Yeah, no, some children are dumber than others, and that one just happens to be particularly stupid. So, yeah.
I just feel like we say it every single time.
Also, I'm
like
not capitulating to, respectfully, how many of the, I see, what? I don't know where I even find the YouTube numbers that are live streaming right now. But I know it's a hell of a lot less of you than the 2 million people who are within the sound of our voices on FM radio. So I don't care. Anyway, it's a problem for Calvin. You're going to hear from Tyke Tolbert, the wide receiver coach. You're going to hear from Calvin Ridley. You're going to hear from Brian Callahan. You're going to hear from Nate Washington if you missed that interview yesterday, because the Calvin Ridley problem Your play caller can change. It doesn't solve your penalty issue. It doesn't solve Calvin Ridley's drops. And that is the thing that they are most up against beyond just the play calling situation that has now changed hands. So we will get to that in the second hour. Coach Mack will also join us. But first, we have to talk about Brian Callahan's last chance, question mark? I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
11 o'clock, what's going on? Good afternoon, morning, whatever the hell it is, from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I am Robert Walsh. NFC face-off last night between the Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals as the Seahawks take the win in the final moments as the Cardinals fall 23-20. The Seahawks have now won 8 straight road games dating back to last season, the longest road win streak in franchise history and the longest active road win streak in the NFL. Titans doing a little roster shuffling with Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon being added to the main roster. Curtis Jacobs will take his spot on the practice squad, and rookie Khalil Mullings will be shifted to injured reserve. Titans injury report yesterday, a little more of the same with one positive note. Cam Ward, who was limited Wednesday with an ankle injury, was back practicing fully on Thursday. They'll need everyone they can get for their matchup against the Houston Texans on Sunday. League Company Countdown to Kickoff gets you started at 9 o'clock. Follow that with Titans Radio, Lucas, Rhett Bryan, all your favorites from the Titans Radio crew, taking you all the way up to kickoff right here on 104.5 The Zone. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Amy Adams Strunk loves to beat the Texans, and she loves to beat the Texans in Houston. We understand the nature of the relationship between the two franchises. We understand what caused Bud Adams to pick up his toys and leave and come to Nashville and bring professional football to the state of Tennessee. Now, a significant amount of time has passed since all of that went down, and that rivalry still remains, or that hatred still remains. I don't know so much if it's the biggest rivalry that Titans fans would consider. I feel like Titans fans relish the opportunity to beat the Colts as a fan base as much as they do the Texans, but maybe there's a differentiation there between the actual organization, the people that own it, and the fan base themselves. Now, that is the last place that the Titans won a game. Last year in Houston is the last time that this franchise won a game. That is an insane thing to say. We are not, we're not quite at a calendar year, but we're at 10 months between the time that they won in Houston in an improbable fashion. Now, they did not do anything with it. They celebrated as if it was their Super Bowl. Turns out it was their Super Bowl. And they did nothing as a result after the fact. They continued to lose. They bottomed out, and they became the team that drafted Cam Ward #1 overall. And that is the biggest source of optimism around this franchise at this point, is that at least you think you have a player at the most important position who can handle himself. But 32-27 was the score last year, Sunday, November 24th at Houston, to improve the Titans' record to 3-8. So they weren't exactly world beaters at the time, but they were good enough in that moment to overcome things like their special teams gaffes, because they did give up an 80-yard return to Dameon Pierce. Will Levis did throw a pick six, but they still found ways to win that game. Now, this team somehow, inexplicably, seems worse than last year's team in a couple of different departments. And the thing that is being magnified more than anything was not a talking point that we had last year. Robert, why is Brian Callahan making new in-game gaffes that were not an issue for him last year? Can somebody tell me? I'm confused. It's a new problem for the Titans head coach that has his job very much on the line. Now, is it a 100% no doubt sure thing that Brian Callahan, if he loses to Houston on Sunday, gets fired? I don't know. I think we don't know, obviously, what Amy Adams Strunk would feel about this situation, because she doesn't speak publicly. She speaks via statements. Would Amy rather keep Brian Callahan until week 7 against Mike Vrabel to see what happens there, or would Amy rather fire Brian Callahan before Mike Vrabel comes back to play at Nissan Stadium with the New England Patriots, because it would be less embarrassing to have your interim coach in a situation where he might lose to your former head coach, who people are, I mean, they're not having great success either. They have turnover issues. They have penalty issues. It's not gone swimmingly for a roster that we knew was bad. And Mike wasn't, Mike was a lesser coach when he had a lesser roster. We understood all of these things. But I don't know what would be her worst case scenario. If she kept Brian for that game, they lose to the Patriots, and then she has to eat it louder, or if she rips the Band-Aid now and maybe her interim beats Mike Vrabel, maybe her interim loses to Mike Vrabel, but it's still less embarrassing than the guy that you kept getting pantsed by the guy that you ran out of town.
As often as I do think that she has made some quick, determined decisions, I think that would be the loser mentality. To break up with the girl before she can break up with you. It's similar to no, we're not going to trade Derrick Henry. He deserves the hometown goodbye. Like, if she felt that way, then supposedly she wouldn't have X-made that trade. So I feel like, and at the off chance that you do beat Mike Vrabel, but you can't beat Mike Vrabel with the guy you fired him with or fired him for if you fire him ahead of time. So I don't think that she would preemptively fire Callahan. She would at least give him a puncher's chance to beat Vrabel.
But she doesn't want to be wrong. That's why Brian Callahan is still here.
Right.
She doesn't want to be wrong.
But I think firing him a week early would be admitting you're wrong before ever getting a chance to see if you were potentially, and I'm using air quotes, right. You hired the right guy.
Well, the worst part of it is they could beat the Patriots. The Patriots are not a good football team. Like, it's not some kind of given that Mike Vrabel is going to come in here and win by 50 points or something outrageous, the way that a lot of people are fear-mongering that their former coach might do to them. The Patriots suck. Their roster is as bad, arguably worse than the Tennessee Titans, though it's not much of a conversation. You could beat the New England Patriots, but there will be nobody in that stadium to see it because the fans are already, apathetic beyond, hey, don't mess up Cam for us, and maybe we'll start to show up once you start to win again. But that would be the worst part of it, is if they beat the Patriots and nobody's there to witness it because they've given up on them. So we'll see. It starts in Houston on Sunday, and this is it feels, we said last week was a must-win. This is an actual professional must-win for Brian Callahan, it feels, more than any other game on the schedule. I would argue even more than that Patriots game. And so what is Brian Callahan's messaging to the team? This was his opening statement on Wednesday in preparation for the Houston Texans.
All right, getting ready for Houston. Really, really talented defense still. They got really good players on offense. They got a good quarterback. The record is what it is. Ours is what it is, and it's a divisional football game that we're going to go and see who's the more desperate team to go win. And it's a heck of a challenge to go play on the road in the division, and they are a talented football team. I know the record isn't what they want, ours isn't what we want, but it's going to be a competitive divisional football game, and we're excited to get going. But we got to be on top of it. Their edge rushers are as good as they come in football. Those guys play really hard. They're a jet-style front. They're disruptive. Their linebackers are fast and aggressive. They got really good talent in the secondary. Stingley's one of the best corners in football. And offensively, they got real pass-catching weapons. CJ's a really good quarterback, a lot of respect for them and what they do. And it's, Nick Chubb's running the ball decent for him too, which it's good to see him back out there running. And they're a good football team. And we got our hands full. We got to go play well. Got to play better than we played for the first 3 weeks to go get a divisional win. And looking forward to that. Good challenge.
I so strongly disagree with the idea of trying to convince your team that they need to be desperate. I think that's minor league. Now, I get that Brian Callahan's desperate. And I understand that the organization is desperate to get a win. But does Cam Ward strike you as somebody who traffics in desperation? Absolutely not. That player is the embodiment of confidence, in belief in self, belief in team. I don't want them to impact that mindset by trying to convince him, no, you need to be desperate. You need to press. We need this. We need this badly. Yeah, we all know you need it. But I hate the idea of desperation being so soaked into your culture as a football team that you're out here trafficking in it as a means to, I get what he's trying to do. Who's the more desperate team? They're both winless. They're in the same division. They both need the win. It's not maybe I'm nitpicking, and you can tell me, Robert, if I am, because Lucas isn't here to back me off of something like this. But I don't like that in principle, given who their quarterback is, and that seems so antithetical to who Cam Ward is and needs to be to make this team not feel like it's desperate.
Yeah, I can see where you are coming from, but I think you are using your magnifying glass a little bit too much, because we don't know what his message to the team is. In his flat open in the press conference, he said, we need to find out who is more desperate for a win. So by saying, like, I don't think he should tell his players to be desperate, we don't know if he's telling his players that, right? That's just the message that he's giving across to us.
But the players are being asked about it because he's saying that.
Right. I don't.
Cam Ward was asked about desperation in his press conference, and he kind of shrugged it off because that's not who he is.
But there is a difference between being asked about being desperate and being said, we are a desperate team. Everyone in here needs to be desperate for a catch, a sack, a touchdown, a rush. Everyone needs to be desperate. I think there's a difference between those two things.
Which is fair. It's fair to point out. I don't know. I just don't think that kind of language around it. And I don't know what I expect them to say at this point. Like, they know they're miserable. We know they're miserable. And that they do need to show some proof of concept that they are not as, frankly, worthless as they've been. Because God knows, and not individually, like Jeff Simmons is playing his best football. I don't know that I've seen a better version of Jeff. But it's horrible because you throw your hands up in the air, and I'm sure it's eating him alive, and say, for what? He's out there killing it. That third and, a 3rd and 7 that he had Daniel Jones dead to rights in the backfield. He beats 2 Colts interior defensive linemen. He's got Daniel Jones running out of the back of the pocket, and all of a sudden his teammates miss tackles all around him, and Daniel Jones is able to scramble for a first down. I think it was if I remember correctly, it was a 3rd and 7 that he turned into like a 17-yard gain. Just nonsense, right? But that's the summary of their season so far. Desperation has its place, I suppose, in sports, and God knows that this organization is the definition of desperate. But I guess my larger issue, if I can refine it then, Robert, based on your pushback, which is fair, is that I don't want the coach messaging certain things publicly that puts the players in a position to have to answer questions about how desperate are you? How desperate are you for this win? How desperate is this organization? This, that, and the other. I just don't think that does them any favors.
I don't disagree with you on that front. Mostly this just takes me back to college. It's 1:30, you're in the bar, about time to go home. You don't want to go home alone. It's like, desperate. Desperate for a win. Who wants a win more, me or Big Back Betty? Who needs a win more?
Big Bad Betty is crazy.
Well, I said Big Back, but
Big Back.
It's me. I'm the one that's more desperate for a win.
I understand. All right. Coach Dave McInness of Titans Radio. He can speak. We can ask Mac about this, about messaging things publicly, and players having to answer for them. Easy for me to say. We can also talk about the highly pressurized situation that a head coach is in. Mac may not have direct experience with something like Brian Callahan is going through, but Mac will be able to speak to the pressures that a head coach deals with extenuating circumstances like Brian Callahan is. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Makes me happy. Hear that music on a Friday means Coach Dave McInness of Titans Radio is here. Presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. They have for just a few more days the Fill a Ford food drive going on right now. At Two Rivers, you go pick up some non-perishable items. The next time you're out grocery shopping, you drop them off at 76 Belinda Parkway in the back of that beautiful Platinum Edition F-150 that they have sitting in the lobby, and you can help those in need. As we get closer to the colder months, the holiday season, it's all to support the Second Harvest Food Bank and the Mount Juliet Help Center, tworiversford.com for more details. Happy Friday, Mac.
Hey, Buck. How you doing, man?
Doing great. Curious to see what goes down in Houston this weekend. It's the last time that they won a game is at Houston, Mac. And, you know, understanding that the level of competitiveness that every football team and every player and every coach has in a situation like this, they were not favored by any stretch of the imagination last year in Houston. So to be curious to see how they respond, given that both teams are kind of back against the wall, even if it's early in the season.
Well, they both need a win. I know that. You know, all my years in the league, anytime I was very seldom over, but when I was, I knew you got to have a win. I mean, that's regardless of history, regardless of past history, regardless of what you think is going to happen in the future, you need a win. And so, I mean, but it still has to boil down to you have to do some fundamental things to help yourself to win. That's what they need to do.
Well, and I'd ask you for your personal experience, Mac, which is obviously different than Brian Callahan's or any other coach in a specific situation that you might mention. But when you get into a circumstance as a football team with you as the head coach where you understand the external conversation, even if you're trying to block all that out, and how you get yourself in a position so as not to press and do things that might be outside of your normal plan or your normal approach just because you may be in a more desperate situation than you want to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, you make a good point. Pressing never helps you. It really doesn't. I mean, I've thankfully I've only been in this situation maybe really one time when we were here the season after we went 10-0 and then we're the number one seed in the league. And then got beat in a playoff game that followed up the next year. We started off 0-6. Now, I mean, you think about the dichotomy between those two things, and we lost our sixth straight game in a row at the junction of a bye week, and so that's when I was Jeff Fisher's assistant head coach, and we sat down on the plane on the way back from something that really wasn't a whole lot of fun, and figured out that we thought we still had a pretty decent team, but we had to do some things different. And, but you got to pull yourself back up, but you can't panic. I mean, we won 8 out of the next 10, but you don't panic. And just to your point, you don't start pressing, because once you start pressing, then everybody starts to feel it. And look, you don't want anybody to feel that. You just want everybody to prepare. Prepare, don't press. I think that's something very, very important to keep in mind.
Well, and you bring up something that I think is critical to remind fans of, because fans, understandably so, they can hyperfixate on a result. We only have one game a week, right? There's a lot of time between these games to fret and stress if you're a fan of a team that's not performing up to expectation or is falling short in areas that you didn't expect them to. But as a coach, the support system around you and the critical nature of making sure that you have the right people to help you prepare that way, which is also something that it seems like Brian Callahan is taking into account with his delegation of the play calling duties.
Yeah, well, I mean, and again, I mean, those are things that you do, structurally and functionally. You're looking for everything to try to help you. That's what you're looking for, but you still really don't. You really don't stray away from the things that are fundamentally that everybody has to do to be able to win football games. You have to cut down penalties. You have to be able to win the field position metrics. You have to be able to win the turnovers. All those types of things that sound pretty mundane to people, you still have to have those things in place before you ever give yourself a chance through 4 quarters.
Coach Dave McInness of Titans Radio here with us on 104.5 The Zone. We will have the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff starting at 9 a.m. I'll be joining that show from Houston, Titans Countdown at 11 with the Titans Radio crew, and then Mac and Taylor Zarzer and the rest of the Titans Radio folks with the kickoff at noon from NRG Stadium. So with that, Mac, and looking at the Houston Texans, who are also in a different kind of a situation, right? Higher expectations for a team that was expected to win, or is expected still to win the division for a third straight year, not having the start to the season that they anticipated. What are you seeing from C.J. Stroud right now that's leading to some of these struggles?
Well, his offensive line's not settled.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really so much C.J. Stroud. I mean, just to your point, it's a lot of things that are going on around him. Look, they've won the division. They're a good football team, but when things start going sideways a little bit, and look, you start losing your starting people. And here's the thing: I mean, they changed 4 out of the 5 offensive linemen last year. Then they're rotating guards, those types of things. They're completely different. They're having different issues than say the Titans are, because they've lost 3 one-score games, but their defense is still elite. They've got an elite defense. That's why even with all the struggles they have had offensively right now, you can start pinpointing things that have gone on offensively. Defensively, they've kept themselves in games with an elite defense, and the strength of their football team right now is their defense. And then if you want to just start narrowing it down even more on their defense, their rush ability is still elite in this league. They're one of the more high-pressure teams in the league, especially from the edge. And so you understand they're in a different circumstance. Their record's the same, but they're in a different circumstance.
Yeah, and that rush is obviously something that they'll have to account for. And we talked to Bill Callahan yesterday, Mac, and obviously we've talked to Cam Ward and the offensive linemen that are available to speak at this point in time about the level of adjustments that they're having to make. The learning curve for an offensive line unit when you've got a young quarterback that's still learning and will make mistakes that you can't account for at every given point, but also Cam Ward's tendency, and you may correct me if I'm wrong about this, but his tendency to kind of drift back there, and maybe he's just more comfortable that way. We've talked about not coaching things out of him that make him more effective or make him the best version of himself, but just the degree of difficulty, Mac, if you could speak to it, of having to adjust for the timing and the rhythm of an offense where you're already up against a good rush and you've got a quarterback who may have a little extra frenetic movement to his game.
Well, he's only drifting when, the biggest problem, and you start narrowing it down really it's not an overarching problem. It's a specific problem. It's when you're in third and double digits. That's the problem. That's a huge problem. The reason he's drifting is because people are tsunami rushing that thing. I mean, and I've said this before, and it's just when you really start looking at really what the details are of this thing, if you can't stay ahead of the chains on first and second down, and you're having trouble blocking pressure anyway, and then you let a football team, when you're third in double digits, put everybody's hand in the dirt and just take off and have no consideration of playing the run and come right straight at you, that's not a good recipe. So the basic thing that you need to do when you really start breaking it down, looking at it, you need more success on first and second down, regardless of how you get there, because even as boring as it sounds, staying ahead of the chains, that's been the biggest issue.
Coach Dave McInness of Titans Radio with us, presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, online at tworiversford.com for more details. So with that, Mac, the challenge is, as you've laid it out for the Titans offense, is clear and obvious. But for the Titans defense, understanding that they moved Brownlee and they're going to get a look at some of the younger guys, whether that be Marcus Harris, whether that be Jalen Armour-Davis. They've got Darrell Baker Jr., who's played a lot of football throughout the course of, I think, his 4-year career. And you've got a Texans offense that's still trying to figure out. They struggle to run the ball mightily, Mac, and I wonder how much additional pressure that's putting on C.J. Stroud, as you mentioned.
Well, quite a bit. And again, it goes down to the offensive line. I mean, that's extremely important. I mean, it's, when you got a chance in this league to keep 5 offensive linemen together, for the entirety of what you're doing, that's extremely, extremely important. I mean, this is still a big man's game up front. I mean, everybody likes the bells and the whistles, but the big man game up front. And so, yeah, it helps. I mean, it will help this team here to be, but not only just running the football, but just staying ahead of the chains. And by doing that, the thing that you're trying to do, you're trying to put a defense into a 50-50 strut on as much as you can offensively on every down in every series. If I'm a defensive coordinator, which I've called a lot of defenses in this league, and I know that an offense only has one thing available to them because of the down and distance, I've got so much more open to me that I can do to give them problems. So it still boils down to being able to stay ahead of the chains, and that's running the football. That's making things work on first and second down. That's the same thing that they're experiencing right now, too. If you really want to start, and I do, that's all I do is dig into what teams are doing, the week before we play them and look at it and see where their issues are. And that's been their biggest issue. The biggest issue is really not so much the quarterback, it's the situations the quarterback has been put into.
I know that you prep for the team that's the next Titans opponent, Mac, but the Cardinals, the Birdnals, as you call them, did play last night, and that will be the Titans opponent after Houston on the road. Seahawks able to outlast them 23-20 in Glendale last night. I'm just so fascinated by the way that team, the Cardinals specifically, are trying to figure things out with Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. And I wonder what you thought of the start of Marvin Harrison Jr.'s night and the way that he tried to help them get back in it, because it seemed like something clicked as that game wore on. And I guess that's been a talking point for them throughout the course of the early part of the season.
For sure. I mean, he's a supreme talent. I mean, he really is. And it's not a lot of times in this league, people get the misconception that, just because you had a really great collegiate career that you're going to come in and take the NFL by storm. That doesn't happen. It's a different world. It's a different competition. But look, that guy is as I just said, he is a supreme talent, and he's going to be a problem for people, and he'll be a problem, whoever plays him. I was fascinated by him during his collegiate career, and he's someone that you've got to earmark when you start working on a team the Monday prior to playing him. He really is.
Hey, Coach, somebody that fascinated me in the Thursday night game was Calais Campbell. The guy just turned 39 September 1st. He's 25th in the career leader in sacks. He had 3 sacks already this year through 4 weeks. How impressive is it what he's doing at his age? And do you think he could be a guy who could end up being a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Well, you're putting the cart way ahead of the horse, first ballot stuff. I mean, that you're talking about, different things. But look, you're 39 years old. Have you ever seen Calais Campbell, Bert, in person?
Only from the stands.
On the field, this guy's a monster. He's a physical monster that can move. I've always been impressed with his game, and plus, clearly he's doing something right, because that's way out of the norm of human capabilities to still be doing what he's doing at 39 years old. First of all, just to want to be able to do it, because he's collected all the money that you'd ever want to collect. I really have always liked the player, because I think the guy really plays hard, and that is something that sometimes you see. The longer somebody's been in the league, if you really watch them, there's sometimes where they'll take some plays off, or they'll kind of float. He never has. I mean, he's an anomaly. He really is. I can see why you're a little fascinated by him, because he is. Now, I'm not going to put first ballot Hall of Fame on anybody. I've coached first ballot Hall of Famers, but I haven't been with Calais Campbell every step of the way like I was with some of those guys. But he indeed is somebody that I think anybody would want on their football team, both young and at 39 years old.
I have seen him in person. I can confirm that he is a monster. Mac,
well, he is. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna wish you a happy Friday, and hope you enjoy the weekend and safe travels down to Houston. See you in the booth, buddy.
Buck, I will see you in Houston at that press box that's 87,000 feet high. See you.
I'm just there for the Buffalo Wing water fountain that they had there for us last year. If I'm being honest, Mac, I can deal with the vertigo that I get as a result.
Just don't look down a whole lot, but enjoy the Buffalo Wing fountain.
See
Love you, Mac.
See you. Yeah, see you. You too, Bert.
Oh, look at it, Coach Dave McInness of Titans Radio.
When people will be like, I'd fight somebody over that cat, or I'd fight somebody over that dog. I would fight somebody over Coach Mac.
Well, sure.
Well, sure. Who would you fight over, Coach Mack? If Quentin Rampage Jackson comes down there and is like, I don't like how perfect and white your hair is, Coach, and starts putting his finger in his chest, are you going to fight Rampage?
Well, yeah, I just don't want to fight his son because he'll kill me.
Yeah, I think Rampage might
send him to jail.
Yeah, right. I love Coach Mack.
He is the man. All right. So he brought up specifically the offensive line struggles for C.J. Stroud. And when you watch C.J. Stroud, it's unfortunate that you're seeing a player who had one of the most successful rookie campaigns that we have seen, not just from an advancement standpoint, like winning a playoff game and getting to the postseason in his first year and flipping around the fortunes of a franchise that seemed lost in mediocrity, not even mediocrity, lost in the dregs of the NFL, the way that this franchise, the Titans, seems to be at this point in time. A quarterback can fix a lot of things, but you do not support this quarterback properly, and we have talked about this many times. The worst-case scenario for Cam Ward is that he does not receive proper support here and that he develops bad habits as a result. You're seeing C.J. Stroud be a little bit rattled, I think as diplomatic as I can say it. He's spraying the ball. He's inaccurate with a lot of this stuff because he feels rushed. He feels pressed, and he's also having to account for a lack of run game that the Texans have not been able to have through the first 3 weeks. And that then becomes my concern. In fact, I think Cam Ward has a better support system around him through the first 3 weeks than C.J. Stroud has, because at least Tony Pollard can do something back there.
I think it's also worth noting this is the first year. This is something he and his head coach talked about closer to the beginning of the year. This is the first year that he has been able to make checks at the line, that he has been able to say, oh, this is a run. Nope, we're going to throw it over the top, or nope, we're going to check into this, or what have you. I think watching I've only seen him hit the Texans week 1 and week 2 game. I did not see their game last week. It seems like he feels like it's almost like the first time you get to go hunting without your dad. It's like, okay, I'm going to go to the stand. I'm going to walk out here by myself. I know what to do. But then you get out there and nothing happens. And it's like, I feel like I need to shoot my gun. I feel like I came out here all by myself. I need to do something. Sometimes it feels like he's checking just to check. I have no information behind that, but it just seems like he's trying, I have this new thing. I have to do this. And in times it puts them in perilous positions.
I don't know, should we, let's play this Bill Callahan clip now. Because I asked him a question, Robert, about how he accounts for Cam Ward and how his group, his offensive line unit, accounts for Cam Ward. His answer was kind of confusing to me. Maybe he just didn't hear the question in the same way that I intended it. Maybe it's on me for the way that I asked the question. But I'd like to play that for the audience because Bill Callahan did speak. Assistant coaches did speak yesterday. And in the same way that we're talking about C.J. Stroud and trying to avoid bad habits that can be picked up as a result of poor offensive line play, Cam Ward is also going to be talked about in those terms as this thing advances.
Okay, it's a receiver, the quarterback, or the line, the back. So it's a collective thing.
To your point,
it's something we always work out.
About the learning curve with Cam specifically and your guys, he's not the only quarterback that kind of can drift a little bit. How do you guys account for that?
Well, I think, he's trying hard. He's doing it. I mean, to play quarterback in the National Football League, to go through the amount of information that he's got to spit out in 40 seconds and get to the line and decipher, and make checks and get us in the right protections and get us in the right flows, because he can change the flow of the protection at any time. That's ultra challenging for a rookie quarterback. So teams are continuing, to challenge us with unscouted looks, or they're just max pressure looks, and then conversely, they'll give you a full pressure look and then they'll bail out as well. So just handling all those adjustments, I think it comes in time. I really do. I mean, for a young quarterback, it's really challenging. I think he's doing a hell of a job with it, personally. And he just, like anybody, he's got to get more consistent.
So I think he didn't take the word drift literally. I think he made it more a mental thing than a movement thing. And maybe that's just, I could have asked the question better. I'm not sure, but I didn't quite get what I was looking for from Bill Callahan that way. But those are also valid points about the thing that he's having to adjust for relative to a learning curve for a rookie quarterback playing behind an offensive line that's got a few more vets to it. We want to try the Friday Fire thing? We're going to do some positivity?
Yes. If you'd like to get your tickets to go see Sam Volcano at the Nashville Comedy tour festival. I can't remember what the hell it's called. The copy's not in front of me. But he's a very funny guy. Even if you don't know who he is, I think you would enjoy it. All you got to do is give us a call, 615-737-1045, and tell us what is positive about your week. All of this negativity, all of the Titans loss, people hurt, people not playing, people dropping the ball. None of that matters. It's all positivity. What's the best thing that happened to you this week? And we will send you to a comedy tour to see Sam Valcano.
Sam from Impractical Jokers is probably how most people know him.
Maybe, potentially.
615-737-1045 is the number. We've got those tickets for you. Or if you just want to call in and give us your moment of positivity like Bert mentioned. It could be sports. It could be personal. It could be professional. We'll give you ours, 615-737-1045. We'll do that next. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, has been in business for over 4 decades, but not only are they helping you find the best vehicle that makes the most sense for your family's budget and for your family's needs, they're here to help the community, and they have done this in so many different ways. Right now, though, they are running the Phil Afford Food Drive, which is helping the Second Harvest Food Bank and the Mount Juliet Help Center. It is so easy for you to help them help others. Right now, the next time you go grocery shopping, whenever that is, between today and September 30th, the end of the month, you can go and pick up some non-perishable food items. So that's cereal, snack bars, canned soups and veggies, all manner of things that can be stored for a period of months that can be served at a later date. Non-perishable food items, you pick those up and you take them to 76 Belinda Parkway. That's where Two Rivers Ford is located. There is a beautiful F-150 Platinum Edition sitting in the lobby at Two Rivers, and that is where you drop those non-perishable food items to help Two Rivers Ford give back. Holiday season is approaching, the colder months are approaching, and there are plenty of people who are dealing with food scarcity right now that we can help together. So do this and feel like you are giving back to the less fortunate right now and help Two Rivers Ford fill that Ford for the Mount Juliet Help Center and Second Harvest Food Bank. (615-737-1045) is the number. Give us something positive. There's been about a lot of bad vibes around the Titans lately. That's all right. The Vols heading down to Mississippi State. They may be your feel-good this week, but what's got you feeling good right now? Personal, professional, sports, or otherwise, you give us your Friday Fire. We'll send you to the Nashville Comedy Festival that is featuring Sal. The tickets right now are for Sal from Impractical Jokers set, not Sam.
Not Sam.
Not Sam from Impractical Jokers. That was an error by us. But that's all well and good. You guys seem to want these tickets, so we will help facilitate that if you have the best Friday Fire submission. Robert, you want to lead off?
I will lead off. I love when people double down on their mistakes. I love when people have to let you know, no, that wasn't wrong. I wasn't wrong. They were wrong. And my daddy, Jerry Jones, can't help himself.
Oh, no.
He has to keep talking about Micah, the upcoming matchup with the Green Bay Packers. They are noted haters of the Cowboys. Micah Parsons, when he was asked about sacking Dak Prescott, he said, quote, "It's going to be painful." That struck a nerve with Jerry Jones, and he had this to say on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas.
About it, Micah is special, and we all know he is, and he can be disruptive. But we have huge amounts of experience with the anecdotes that we've seen used on us for the last 4 years. Right. And while he does make great plays, there is also a way to approach playing against Micah, as we know, because we didn't exactly win the Super Bowl during those years. So bottom line is, when I look at playing him, I think of trying to have him as an advantage when we were playing other teams over the last 4 years. And some plays it looks beautiful, but then other plays, especially running plays, you can wish you'd have had a different formation.
Oh, Jerry. Why stoke the fire? Why poke the bear? Why go in here and say, well, even on running downs, the first TFL that Micah Parsons has, Twitter will be aflame. Dallas Cowboys fans will be incensed. There is going to be a barn burning, and I do not believe it will be in Green Bay. Jerry will have to answer for his crimes one day, but that day is not today. Jerry, thank you for providing us with more content.
I mean, it is just impressive. He is just incredibly impressive for the amount of times that he can put his coaching staff and his football team in bad position that they have to answer for Jerry's ills, right? Jerry doesn't have to go out there and block Micah. God, what are you thinking if you're Brian Schottenheimer? Please
stop talking. If you're his son, please stop talking.
Stop talking.
Like, at some point, you'd think they would start setting him up with fake press conferences. Like, yeah, Jerry, this way. This is a press conference. Everyone's going to see this. It's being broadcast on ESPN live, and just broadcast it to no one. Just have Jerry thinking that he's talking to someone. keep wondering why his interview quotes are never being posted. Eventually, that's what they're going to have to do.
My Friday fire is Cal Raleigh. Are you familiar with the man that they call Big Dumper?
Big Dumper.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
He hit his 60th home run this past week. And the cool part of it, not just for Cal Raleigh, who hit his 60th home run, but the guy who caught it at the Mariners ballpark could have kept it. And the ball is very, very valuable. I can't remember the valuation that I saw, but it was pretty up there. If this Mariners fan wanted to keep it for himself, keep it as a memento, sell it at a later date if he was so inclined. But the guy who caught the 60th home run decided that he would unselfishly give it up to a child who was in attendance, who was very excited, who was delighted, like the anti-Phillies fan who went over and stole a home run ball or belittled the father of a child to get the home run ball back because she felt she was entitled to it, even though she didn't get over there fast enough to pick the ball up herself. We need to celebrate more people who give up these mementos unselfishly as opposed to just hyperfixating on the selfish people who keep these things for themselves instead of giving them to who should have them, children.
That little kid's just going to slobber all over that ball and mess up the evaluation. What are you talking about? It's being valued between $100,000 and $250,000.
That's
Dude,
crazy.
I would go buy a ball from the gift shop, then come back to that kid later after I've autographed it and said, here you go, son. I got this from the ball manager. He wanted you to have this. As I took the ball home and cashed it out. It's going to go up if he breaks Judge's American League record of 62 home runs. So, terrible decision, but I guess that kid's happy, so whatever.
Should we just start calling Lucas Big Dumper? Because he's got a fat ass.
God, that thing's big. Good. Like a Tempur-Pedic. Like a beanbag chair on both cheeks. I love that. I'm going to get him a desk sign similar to my big boss Bert that just says Big Dumper. Oh, BD. We got to get BD back in here. BDL Lucas. Big Dumper Lucas. It's like BBL, but BDL.
BBE Lucas. Doesn't quite roll off the tongue the same BBL. Anyway, 615-737-1045. Give us your Friday fire. We'll give you some tickets to the Nashville Comedy Festival. How about Matt, who's calling us from Virginia?
Hello.
Yo.
Yeah, not necessarily sports related, but my Friday fire is my brother graduating from basic training this week. We're going to Georgia to see him.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to your family and to your brother, Matt. Remember to stay on hold for the opportunity to win those tickets. It's a good submission to start us off. The patriotism is flowing fast and furiously with the Ryder Cup, although we need the American side to pick things up a little bit. We got a flyover. We got President Trump in attendance. The vibes are very high for America, except the golf needs to pick itself up at this point. Josh is in Indiana. We're getting calls from all over the place.
Hey, guys, tighten up. How's it going?
Good.
Say it back.
Hey, so
I don't know how to respond. Brett Kern is here looking at me, laughing at me, because when people say tighten up to me, I'm like, But go ahead, Josh.
Well, I tell you what, though, a lot of my Titans friends that live down in Nashville, they were just like, man, how are you a Titans fan and you live in Indiana? And I just said, you know what? Here's the thing. We're going to get out of this rut. We're going to get out of this rut. Just got to do what Matt LaFleur said, embrace the suck, and we're going to get there. And they're like, man, we admire your positivity. And I was just like, hey, I've been through it. Wiz and Hunt years, Mike Munchak. I said, guys, we got this. Because my friend at the Mr. Titan event a couple of weeks ago, I was actually in Nashville. They were all like, man, this guy has some positivity. He's going to be the good juju that the Titans need. So just thought I'd share that with y'all.
Okay, very good. God knows they need it. We appreciate it, Josh.
Tighten up, Josh.
You didn't mean that. You're a Ravens fan.
You don't have to mean it. It's just like when somebody's like, I love you, and you're like, love you too.
I've had to take that phrase out of my vocabulary entirely.
Your vernacular has eliminated tighten up.
Yeah.
So like you have a guy come over to help you with some handiwork, and you're like, yeah, I just need to unloosen these things, reverse loosen these. Can you reverse loosen up these bolts over here?
I'm so awkward when people say it to me in public. I'm like, yeah, good luck. Braden is in Lafayette.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My Friday fire today is I just closed on my very first house at the age of 26 yesterday.
Hell yeah.
And that has got me fired up.
That's awesome. That's incredibly stressful, Braden. I did that at 25, and it was exhausting.
Oh, come on.
What?
Come on. You didn't have to cut him off like that.
What do you mean? I didn't cut him off.
No, you were like... It's like I closed on my first house at 26. You're like, yes, I did that, and I was only 25 years old.
Oh, no, I didn't mean it like that. I'm just saying it's incredibly stressful.
I was able to procure a living domain at the ripe old age of a century.
Brett, you have thoughts?
No,
he's just laughing at us.
I was going to say something, but I'm not going to start.
He wants to save it. He knows he's stuck with me for the next 40 minutes, just me and him. No Lucas to buffer.
I'm going back to my Ryder Cup.
I wasn't trying to be pretentious. I'm just saying it's very stressful. I understand.
Congratulations, Braden. That's awesome.
I hope your interest rate is as good as my 3-1.
Oh, I had a 2-6, buddy. I beat you.
Ooh. Tony is in Nashville. What you got, Tony?
Hey, man, so I'm a real estate agent, and I got 3 of my family members into a home in the last week, 3 different homes. So that was pretty cool. And one of my best friends just bought an airplane that we're both working on becoming commercial pilots. So we're both going to be flying all over the country together to get some hours.
Awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
That sounds exciting.
Are you guys the real life stepbrothers? It's like, oh, yes, I just bought all of my family a house.
So many activities.
And my brother just bought an airplane. And actually, we're going to make it a biplane. So we're going to fly to the Kitty Hawk hills of North Carolina. Like, too many activities going on, but it still sounds like a lot of fun.
One more. B-Rob in Mount Juliet. What do you got?
Hey, guys. My Friday fire is this. Officially turned fall. We got a full slate of college football, doubleheader, Monday night NFL. It's payday, and go Titans. That's it.
All right, very good.
He
Is
wins.
it payday? Did we get paid today?
He wins. It's payday. I don't know. It might be. You want to give me some money? It could be payday today.
No, you can't have my money.
I need and I need it now. I need somebody's money. I don't know whose it is, but I need somebody's.
Well, I appreciate that there's a lot of positivity. So I think, though, Matt, whose brother just graduated for basic training, I think that's a really, really cool thing. Not that any of the other things aren't cool, but that was my favorite submission so far. You have a submission, even though my vote counts for 2 and yours only counts for 1?
I feel like we should let Brett count. So if anyone who doesn't get it would then hate his decision.
Brett isn't paying attention. He's watching golf.
I'm not paying attention one bit right now.
Locked in.
I also liked Matt's submission. We can go with Matt.
All right, very good. Congratulations to Matt. Congratulations to your brother, Matt. We're going to send you to the Nashville Comedy Festival. Brett Kern is already here. We'll talk to him about football and golf next.
Noon 04, good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I am Robert Walsh. The NFC West face-off last night saw the Seahawks take the win in the final moments as the Cardinals fall 23-20. The Seahawks now have won 8 straight road games dating back to last season, the longest road streak in franchise history and the longest active road streak in the NFL. Titans with a little roster shuffling as Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon was added to the main roster. Curtis Jacobs will take his spot on the practice squad, and rookie running back Khalil Mullings will be shifted to injured reserve. Titans injury report from yesterday, a little more of the same with one positive note as Cam Ward, who was limited on Wednesday with an ankle injury, was back practicing fully on Thursday. They'll need everyone they can get in their matchup against the Houston Texans on Sunday. Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff has got you covered starting at 9, followed by Lucas Panzica, Red Bryan, and the entire Titans radio crew taking you all the way up to kickoff right here on 104.5 The Zone. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5
The Zone.
You took my part.
We got Brett Kern in studio, as is the custom on a Friday in the noon hour. We also have the Ryder Cup going on live right now. Brett is locked the F in.
I'm so locked in right now.
On the golf, and the Americans need as much of that intensity as Brett Kern is giving off. They need it against the Europeans right now.
It was not a great morning this morning. Down 3-1. Rahm and Hatton. My goodness. Fleetwood and Rory, Oberg, Fitzpatrick. It was bad.
It's a stacked lineup on the European side of things, too. Americans are trying to dig themselves out of the hole that they put themselves in early this morning. Have you ever been to the Ryder Cup?
I haven't, no.
You do the Masters. Did you guys still do the annual Masters trip?
No. Gosh, I'm trying to remember last time. Last time I was at the Masters, probably 2018.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it was you, Suck Up, Ben, and
a couple other buddies, yeah. Just go down there for a day, come back, and it's a good time.
Yeah.
But Ryder Cup's different. This is, obviously, you got, President Trump there, the flyover. There are a ton of people there to watch. There's 16 people on the golf course right now. And there's probably 75,000 people.
Ryder Cup, one of my favorite golf events of the year. I mean, I'm not a diehard golf fan the way that you are, and I don't play as regularly as you do, obviously. But it's almost impossible to not get up for some level of international competition, Europe versus America that way. Have you? Did you get into the live golf stuff at all?
I did a little bit. I went to the event that was in Nashville.
I did too. It was cool.
Hot.
It was hot.
Very hot. But it was cool.
Course.
I liked the vibes. I did the Pro-Am. They had music going on every tee box, and it was laid back. Guys wearing shorts, just, great conversations. But yeah, it was fun.
There's a party vibe out there.
That's
the Grove.
Probably why they're not back at the Grove. I think they tore that course up pretty good.
Yeah, the grandstands are a little less docile at the Live Tour than they are at the PGA. But obviously, we'll talk about some football because it has been an intense
Do we
week.
have to? Can we just keep talking about the Ryder Cup?
You can't turn into me. Okay, we can get back to the Ryder Cup at some point.
Okay, we'll get there.
They look to you and Ben and Nate as the break from me just bitching about their football team, Brett. But I don't know what else to do.
It's tough. It's been quite. I mean, a lot has happened since Monday.
Yeah,
a lot.
It's crazy, and not even just. I mean, just the news cycle this week has been wild. From Bruce Pearl to Mike Gundy to everything that's happening with the Titans to Russell Wilson getting benched and everything else that's going on in the National Football League. By the way, we didn't mention that Jaden Daniels ruled out for a second straight week. So Marcus Mariota,
let's go,
the maestro, back under center for the Commanders. A decisive win over the Las Vegas Raiders. Who the Commies have this week? Robert, do you know the schedule?
I think they're Atlanta.
I believe that's correct, but I can double check.
A lot of revenge games on the Marcus Mariota revenge tour. He played for the Raiders. Right. He played for the Falcons. God help us. I mean, the next revenge tour that I'm looking forward to beyond Mike Vrabel at Nissan Stadium is Derrick Henry next year with your Baltimore Ravens, Robert, at Nissan Stadium.
Oh, no, they'll probably put that game in London like they did last time. I thought I was going to get to watch them here, so I won't get my hopes up.
London's a fun trip.
Yeah, I bet it was.
If you don't like sleeping.
Well, let's start there and keep it a little more positive, I guess, before we delve into the unending misery that is the Titans.
Vikings, Steelers are at
Dublin.
Croke Park, right?
Dublin, tomorrow morning. I think kickoff is 8:30, 9:30 local, if I'm not mistaken. So we get our first international game. But the NFL just announced at some point during the show, we were talking to Coach Mack, so I didn't get to it, but that they have signed a 3-year deal to keep playing games in Brazil. The extenuating circumstances for a football player around an international trip, how many have you done? Because I know
I just did London in 2018 at Wembley.
Oh, because you weren't on the 23 Titans.
I wasn't.
Okay, so I've done 2, Wembley and then Tottenham.
Yep.
So that was the Chargers game that Taywan Taylor in the back of the end zone.
Yep. And what was it? We went for it on 2.
Yeah.
With Luke Stalker.
Yes.
Now the tight ends coach.
Yes. Stalker often brings that up. Don't ask me about it.
He's a big man, too. We all thought it was going to work. He is
sure.
A large human being.
Like that halfback dive, fullback dive with Stalker. I still give Matt LaFleur crap about that at owners' meetings with Luke Stalker, who had never had a carry in his professional or high school or college career.
Still doesn't have a carry on American soil.
Poor Stock. But just generally, the international trip for you guys in 2018, that was Vrabel's first year.
Yeah.
It's as angry as I've ever seen Mike Vrabel walking into a press conference after that game for how it ended. But how do you guys view that? Because obviously football is about routine, and that is a tremendous amount of disruption to a football team's routine.
Yeah, I think it depends on when you go over. I'm trying to remember, when we played the Chargers, I think they came over Monday because they played Cleveland, if I'm correct. So they were over there almost all week. I know Jacksonville, when they go over there all week.
Well, they're playing multiple games now. They're staying.
And I think the Vikings are back-to-back, too.
Yeah.
London was fine, to put it best. I know, talking to some of the guys with the Eagles, Sao Paulo was a dumpster fire because they couldn't leave the hotel. Mexico City couldn't leave the hotel just because it was too dangerous. So that's not ideal to have a 11-hour flight down to Brazil and you can't even leave the hotel. So I can understand that's pretty frustrating. And that flight, that's no joke. And so London, we practiced Thursday. We got to B&A. It was like 6:30. And then obviously you got to fall asleep on the plane. I tried. I couldn't. And then I did fall asleep for about an hour, and I woke up to Ben Jones and Taylor Lewan with their shirts off because the air conditioning went out in the front of the plane. And Ben was sweating. You'll have to ask him about this Monday, but he was sweating pretty hardcore. So that was pretty rough. But
a lot of beef in the front of the plane to not have AC.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. But you get over there, you land, and you go right to your hotel, and you get some breakfast, and you start straight into meetings. So I started off with an hour's sleep. You get in your special teams meeting to start, and they open up the computer, and it still says 2:30 a.m. So
it's a little disorienting.
You're just it's. Your eyes are burning. But obviously you got to start your day. And then, you're there, you practice. It's a cool experience. We got to go downtown, just kind of hang out a little bit, come back, just see London a little bit. And then obviously the game, you wake up and you're waking up here at 2:30 in the morning, our time, and you go play a football game, and then you fly home, and still couldn't sleep on the way home. So in essence, I pulled 24 hours, within 4 days of each other. So it's tough, but to say you got to play in Wembley Stadium, it's unbelievable.
It was cool, much less on that flight home, and you don't have to confirm or deny this, but I believe Darren Bates was may have had a skunk somewhere on the plane at some point.
It's Bates. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
Had to put out that skunk a couple of times, according to the flight attendants on a plane. But we love DB. Always something. But the strain of that on top of just having to immediately board a flight and come home, has to be tough. And I know you get a bye week after that.
But they're not even doing the bye week anymore.
Not anymore. That's
and
the
I
other
can't
thing.
imagine, like, to have the bye week. It's like, okay, you can recover. You can, take the week to recover a little bit, kind of get your bearings, get your sleep back. But I couldn't imagine playing over there and then coming back and playing the next week. That's
gross.
That's crazy to me. Player safety.
Famously.
Player safety.
We'll get that second bye eventually, but only when we're playing 20 regular season games.
That's right.
Who is calling me in the middle of the radio show? Anyway.
Answer it.
It's probably Lucas.
Answer it.
No, well, Lucas would do that to get me a fine. Anyway, I did enjoy the international trip from our perspective, but I get a little more downtime than you guys do. We went to an English national team versus the international or the Australian national team. Having a friendly, me and PK went to that. I think that was the 23 London game that you guys ended up playing, or the Titans played at Hotspur at the time. And now that stadium is specifically designed for NFL games as opposed to Wembley, which, I mean, the
grass was
crazy
slick. And I remember we went there on Saturday just to kind of check out the field and all that kind of stuff to specialists. And I asked the groundskeepers, like, man, this is pretty rough. Like, it's slick, it's long.
Yeah.
When I watch soccer games, it is beautiful turf. He looked at me in his English accent. He's like, man, we don't care about American football. We got to get ready for the English national game here in a month. It'll be spotless by then. I was like, okay.
I was like,
it.
somebody forgot to cut the grass out here at Wembley.
Forgot to cut the grass. There were dead patches, brown patches. It was pretty rough. But.
So we'll talk about the week that the Titans have had with Brett Kern. We'll also do our picks. Robert will tee us up for it since Lucas is an absentee today from the radio show. He put in 4 hours of work this morning.
Early morning this morning for him.
I don't feel bad. Show up to work. Like I would.
He just doesn't want to talk golf.
That too. Also, he's in a bit of a depression because of the state of Titans and being on Titans radio and all these different things. So we've had to kind of work him through it this week. But anyway, picks and some more Titans talk with Titans legend Brett Kern coming up next. All right, so I don't want to bring the vibe down on a Friday, but we do have a little bit of news that is Titans adjacent, and Brett and I can both speak to. Titans legend Brett Kern is hanging out in studio with us. So we know that basically the entire Titans coaching staff under Mike Vrabel went to New England with Vrabel when he became the head coach. And some reporting out of New England has been that Terrell Williams, the former defensive line coach here and assistant head coach here, who was the defensive coordinator under Mike in New England, has been dealing with some health issues leading up, but officially the diagnosis, and this is being reported, I guess Vrabel is doing a podium availability right now. Terrell Williams has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. He is in the process of determining a treatment plan. This is courtesy of _Andrew Callahan in Boston. Vrabel, quote, "We want to send our regards and let everybody know publicly that that's what he's dealing with." So obviously you have worked with Terrell Williams
Big T.
on the staff. I had Coach Williams for the entirety of his tenure here. Just an awful situation, and hopefully, he and his family are able to manage the treatment process as well as humanly possible, and that he comes out clean on the other side, or as clean as humanly possible.
Prayers up to him and his family as you start this process of trying to figure out what stage it's in, and there are a ton of treatments out there for cancer, and just finding what's best for him. So, man, wish I could go up there and give him a big old teddy bear hug. He's a great man.
Is he a hugger?
I don't know, but
I didn't ever try.
I feel like he would be.
He looks like he gives a solid hug.
Solid hug.
He also coached Ndamukong Suh and Jeff Simmons, so I'm sure he's not the most cuddly.
That's a good point. Yeah, those are two very large.
Got to be a different kind of human being to be able to manage two rage monsters that size.
You guys were talking about Calais Campbell earlier and how big he was. I had to sit next to him on the Pro Bowl bus. I felt like a fly that got smushed by a fly swatter next to him on the window seat.
Because he's 6'8", isn't he?
6'8", what, 290, 300, 310.
Oh, easy.
And he sat in that chair. His knees didn't know where to go, and I'm just like, my cheeks are pressed up against that window of that bus. Great man, though.
Yes.
Really good guy.
Christopher on YouTube asked, "When's the last time that I hugged anybody?" I dap Brett up when he comes in. I dap.
It's a half hug.
It's a half hug.
That counts.
I'll get halfway there. I will halfway hug.
When was the last time we went out?
You and me?
Yeah. I feel like we hugged.
No, you just get drunk and then tell me you love me.
And then I needed an Uber home because my phone's dead.
My Uber app thinks that half the time that I am calling Ubers, it's Robert who needs the Uber ride. Like,
my phone battery
is this for you?
terrible.
This seems like it's far away. No, I've just had to send you home drunk too many times.
Well, and I'm also not paying for a $50 Uber. So I would be perfectly...
The last one was $76,
I would be perfectly fine
don't go to New York City.
I would be perfectly fine with sleeping outside Red Door Saloon, but you advised against that.
Only because I enjoy Red Door, and I want to go back to Red Door, and I don't want you to be the reason that we can't go back to Red Door. Anyway, no seamless way to transition from Terrell Williams' diagnosis to football conversation, but we will do what we can. Ryder Cup keeping you updated as well. Brett has been locked in on that. John Rahm came to play today, by the way.
Yeah, well, he's with Hatton. Foursomes this morning, alternate shot. That's tough. That's tough for the Americans. A lot of times you're changing your partners, but, with Europe, Rahm and Hatton, they won both their foursome matchups over in Italy 2 years ago. Fleetwood, he's 4-0 in foursomes, and he was paired with McIlroy this morning, and two of those for Fleetwood came with Rory. They were -5 through 9. Scotty and Henley. Henley didn't play his best, and that's the hard part in foursomes is you're alternating your shot. So one guy could be on. If one guy's off, in this case, Henley was just a little off this morning, a little bit off with the putter. Scotty wasn't himself either. But Oberg and Fitzpatrick were 7 under through 14 for alternate shot. That's tough. And, thankfully, Xander and Patrick, they've been buddies for a long time. They've played a lot of golf together. Ryder Cup, President's Cup, there's 3 up through 11. Lost that lead, but thankfully won it on 18. So, the last time an away team won was, 2012 when Europe won at Medina. I think the U.S. will fare a little bit better this afternoon with 4-ball. Everybody's playing their own ball. If one guy's off a little bit, the other guy can pick them up. We got some pretty strong groups out there. I like the Scheffler Spawn group. I know this is Spawn's first Ryder Cup, but for him, to win at Oakmont is huge. And Bethpage Black has hosted 2 U.S. Opens, so he's familiar with this course, and obviously be with Scotty. And it's crazy though, like the world number 1. I was looking at this earlier today. Like since 1999, the world number 1, they've only won 38% of their matches, which is crazy.
That
and I'm
is
like,
insane.
Yeah, well, what about Tiger Woods? Tiger Woods won 35%. He was 4-2-2 in singles, right? That's a different animal. But yeah, he's only won 35%. And Tiger played with 16 different partners. Like, so that just goes into show, like, Europe has been able to stack some of these partnerships that have dominated. U.S., we got 4 rookies, Griffin, Young, Spawn, and Henley. And, Henley's played in President's Cup. But, yeah, it's tough.
Speaking of tough.
Yeah, here it comes.
All right, so where do you want to start? You want to start with the head coach giving up play calling? You want to start about the corner that was traded for no particular reason other than they
just for local sports radio talk.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I wish you would win games instead of doing dumb bleep. But where do you want to start?
No, I think Callahan. Given the play calling to Bo, I think it's a good thing. I think as a first-year head coach, there's so much on your plate. And really the important thing of a head coach, most importantly, is to be a manager of people. How can you bring guys together? How can you lead? The X's and O's are very important. Like, obviously, it's your main part of the job. But
not as the head coach. Not as important as the head coach.
Correct. Obviously, if you can delegate, that's also important too. But I just think, the play calling as a first-year head coach, I've been with, McDaniels in Denver. He got, the head coach, the roster management, play calling, and obviously it didn't work out too well. And I just think, for a first-year or first-time head coach, to be able to just focus on football and to be able to delegate play calling, to 2 different people, whether it's Bo or Denard, right? It's I just think that's good, and I think hopefully that'll allow him to help with in-game decisions, ones that he wants to make. And so I just think we'll see how it goes Sunday, at Houston. But I think it's a good thing.
It may be, but again, they have to rectify the penalty situation. They have to rectify the drops. Calvin Ridley, my God.
Yeah. The drops, the penalties, being behind the sticks. It's a lot. And like I said last week, I'd love to see this team play a complete football game where they're not playing behind the sticks. They're not getting toasted by penalties. And just what does that look like? What does that look like when the playbook is at its full disposal, like where everything's there?
It's operable.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
And that's just
we just haven't seen that yet.
Okay, so not every trade in season is created the same, obviously, and you're not in the locker room right now, but Jarvis Brownlee gets traded for a bag of beans. Yeah. A starting corner, which, again, I have expressed my frustrations on it, and we don't have to relitigate that. But you, as having been in a locker room, many different kinds of locker rooms with many different kinds of players that have been traded for a bunch of different reasons.
Right.
Which one of those experiences stands out the most that actually left an impact on the locker room, that you sent a player away or the organization sent a player away and you're looking around and feeling what?
Man, the NFL is a business, and I think you've heard that probably a bunch this week.
Sure.
It is a business. It is the no fun league, no loyalty league, not for long. I mean, we could just keep going. But, I think when AJ got traded, that was kind of one thing. And I've seen some stuff over my career where guys have gotten cut. Traded's one thing. That's different than getting cut. Cut is, kind of sending a message. Maybe somebody that's not performing. You look at Williams, 3 special teams penalties in the first 3 games. He's not active this last week. So Jarrell getting traded was pretty, because I think he got traded for a 7th rounder.
He got traded for a 7th. John then turned it into a 6th, I think, in that following draft.
But Jarrell was coming off a Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
And
that was the 19 run.
Yeah. And I was coming off a Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, like, man, anybody is up for trade, you name it. And so, this trade, I mean, I think it sends a message. I mean, you could talk about Brownlee and his penalties 3 to start. You look at last year, he had 8. Latham led with the Titans with 10, 8 of them being false starts. But, that's different. Everybody could be traded, but I think it just depends on the scenario where you're going. So I kind of, I talked to Ben Jones yesterday. We were trying to process the whole thing. And I think, too, there's just an element of, Berganzi wanting his guys. If someone's not performing to how he thinks, and if there's something between the coaches and management's going to win on that one. And so I just wonder if, they thought Brownlee was making too many mistakes, penalties, coverage-wise, whatever. And, the Denard still wanted him to play. But they want their own guys in. And so this is kind of the way of not having Brownlee play.
Yeah, they removed the situation from the coaches.
And I've seen that.
Yeah.
Where if there's a discrepancy, like management has the upper hand and they could either cut him, trade him, just so they can get their guys, the guys that they brought in. And so, you look at Bones, Stonehouse is a great punter, but Bones wants his guy. He wants Hecker. And obviously you could see why, because Bones, facilitates, expects the ball to be in certain places that he knows Johnny can do, and they base their coverage around it and look at the result. And so I think there could be a couple different reasons. I tried to throw out the whole, is he late to meetings? I've seen guys get cut for that reason. Everything came out that was clean. And so I think this is just a playing time management. They want their guys in, and that's the part of the business.
Super annoying. All right, Robert, you have the games. We'll have to go rapid fire because we only have about 9 minutes here before we need to go to break. So and I don't want to skirt Brett Kern on his research because he does a lot of thorough research here.
Some really good research.
Start us off. We going college or pro first?
Let's start with college. We'll start with LSU and Ole Miss, where Lane Kiffin's daughter was announced to be dating the starting linebacker for Ole Miss. He said take the over. That's at 55 or 56.5, depending where you're looking. But the spread is 1.5. What are you guys feeling?
The last two meetings, 2023, Ole Miss won 55-49. There was 1,300 yards of combined offense. Then the next year, LSU won in overtime, 29-26. I think Ole Miss is going to cover.
Interesting.
I like Chambliss, the way he's kind of rolling right now. I don't know. I could be way wrong.
I don't disagree with that. And if Lane has a quarterback who he feels like is getting into rhythm there, LSU though.
LSU, they've struggled running the ball. Durham's not 100%. They got
Nussmeier's still hurt.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss is on a roll, and I think they're going to win.
So you're going to take them straight up?
Yeah.
Okay. I will go along with Ole Miss to cover.
Yeah.
Not bad. Texas A&M and Auburn. Texas A&M are 6.5-point favorites. How you feeling?
Auburn shot themselves in the foot many different times in that Oklahoma game. That was nonsense.
They did. A&M had the week off, obviously after beating Notre Dame 41-40. A&M's one of 9 offenses averaging 300 and 150 in the rushing, 323 and 157. They've scored 40 in all 3 games. They have 22 plays of over 20 yards, so they're explosive. Marcel Reed's doing a good job and growing as he keeps playing. Here's the fun stat, though. Auburn wide receiver Eric Singleton, he's a Georgia Tech transfer. He has a catch in all 28 of his career games. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't know if it means anything, but I just think it's cool. You've played in 28 games. You have 28 catches, But I think Auburn covers. I think it's going to be a close game. I think Auburn can cover that 6.5.
I liked the way that Auburn was playing until things started to unravel at Oklahoma. And it doesn't mean that they can't get right, but at A&M is tough. I'll take the Aggies there.
Tennessee is headed to Mississippi State, where they are a 7.5-point favorite. It is an inadvertent orange and white game because Mississippi State is having a whiteout.
Yeah.
Naturally, Tennessee is going to be very orange. Get ready for cowbells. 7.5. That too big for you guys, or you're going with the Vols?
No, I'll take Tennessee to cover.
Oh, see, I got Mississippi State covering. Okay. I think Tennessee wins by a touchdown. But I think that
half point is just too much for you, huh?
Well, I got burned by it last week, and I'll probably watch Tennessee win by 8.
It's the closest I've seen Brett Kern to cussing.
I almost did on the NFL what it stands for, but
Alabama heading to Georgia 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, this would have been a headline matchup, maybe a little bit more of an afterthought for some people. Georgia is a 3.5-point favorite. How do you guys feel?
Bama to cover.
Oh, I got Georgia.
Okay.
Bama to cover.
I like the head-to-head.
It's the first time it's the first time Bama's been to Georgia since 2015.
Ben does not feel good about it at all.
No, he doesn't. Ben, come on, man. But I think FSU showed kind of the blueprint of how to beat Bama, and they've gotten a little bit better since. But Bama's ranked 103rd in rushing, and I think Georgia can kind of tighten up some of the stuff that happened in the UT game. So at Georgia, I feel like they'll win. I think they'll win by 4.
Yeah, UL Monroe and Wisconsin are not world beaters, right? That's who Alabama has played the last couple of weeks. But Ty Simpson is 41 of 46, passing 608 yards, 7 touchdowns, and Georgia's defense was suspect against Tennessee, understanding that Tennessee is a difficult place to play, but I was shocked to see them get into a track meet that way. I don't know if Ty Simpson is going to be as well protected against Georgia as he was against these past 2 opponents that they've played, but if they give him time, he's out here killing people.
And I think Jalen Milroe is a little different than Simpson. I think Milroe was able to beat him with his feet. Like I said, I think FSU, and I think FSU is pretty good this year, but they got after Simpson, and I think Georgia can do the same.
Faster, Robert.
It's your fault. Last game of the college slate, Oregon going to Penn State. Penn State is 3.5-point favorites.
Oregon covers.
I agree.
Penn State 14 straight losses. Top 6 opponents. James Franklin 2-20.
But he wins games that he's favored in.
Well, good for him. But Oregon has the number 2 ranked offense.
Yeah.
Number 5 D, number 4 special teams.
I just need Penn State to beat Oregon up a little bit because Indiana goes to Oregon after they go to Michigan State this weekend. Whoa. I would love to see them upset Oregon, but I am with Brett. I will take Oregon to cover.
To the NFL slate, where the Vikings are getting 2.5 at the Steelers. They're not getting 2.5. They are 2.5-point favorites at the Steelers. The Vikings have already announced that Van Ginkel will be out for this game.
Oh, that changes my picks.
Against Aaron Rodgers.
He is a very underrated player.
Van Ginkel loves picking off Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, New England should have beat Pittsburgh, minus 5 fumbles.
Yeah.
2 of them were inside the 5-yard line?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Pitt's D has been a little inconsistent. Vikings put together a good showing against the Bengals, offensive, defensively. Wentz was efficient. Like I said, the defense was stout. I like the Vikings to cover. I think they win. I think they win by field goal. I think it's going to be close, but I think they win by field goal.
Aaron Rodgers isn't playing the Vikings defense. He's playing Brian Flores. He is up against it. Vikings to cover on the road.
Eagles are 3.5-point favorites at the Bucs. This is potentially my favorite NFL game of the weekend.
Bucs, Baker, man, some late game heroics. Love it, but they've been kind of flirting with some fire. Key
Last
injuries.
week, oh my God, they got away with it.
Yeah, Mike Evans, I think, is out. Not sure if Godwin's back, but I think those will catch up to Tampa. Eagles coming off that comeback victory against the Rams, 26. They were down 26-7 in the third quarter, came back and won. It seemed like Hurts with AJ, Devontae, 14 catches, 169 yards, found a little bit. So I think the Eagles will cover.
Bucs defense really good. It feels like a field goal game to me, so I would take the Bucs to cover. But I mean, to Brett's point, they got away with it. They're playing.
The Eagles will block.
Yeah. Jordan Davis will run it back.
Run it back.
Yeah, it's a fair point. That was just that Rams Eagles.
I had the Rams covering, and I was just.
Yeah, what do you do? That's just a sad day.
That's the definition of a bad beat.
Speaking of the Rams, they are hosting the Colts, where the Colts are an underdog despite being 3-0. How do you guys feel about that one?
And we got West Coast versus ground and pound. Colts for 3-0, first time since 2009 in the old Pepe days. Can the Colts limit the Rams' pass rush? The big plays from Puka, Stanford, in that offense. But I think, the Colts are third in the league in rushing, and JT has been on fire. Plus, the Colts lead the league in turnover margins, so I think the Colts cover.
Daniel Jones has to come back to earth at some point.
I don't know. Bryce just got him on his fantasy football team, so he better not come back to earth, or it's going to be a rough day in the current household.
Right.
So I need Indiana Jones to ball out.
Yeah.
That, and you know how you've seen it. The run game, when you can run, it travels.
I know, and
travels.
Warren is such a cheat code, and Daniel Jones loves the tight ends. Okay, you've talked me into it. Colts cover.
Let's go.
All right. Colts cover. Let's hope the Ravens do, but I am doubtful for that. The Ravens are 2.5 point favorites on the road as they head to the Chiefs. And I'll give you a little backstory before you guys get your picks. They are doubtful to have Ronnie Stanley, who has not practiced this week with an ankle injury. Nnamdi Madubuike is still out nursing a neck injury that we know absolutely nothing about.
Yeah.
Their defensive line is crushed. Even though the Kansas City Chiefs can't run the ball, every single player on their team practiced all 3 days this week. So the Chiefs are supremely healthy. That includes Xavier Worthy. I think they are going to hurt a hurt Ravens team and send the Ravens to 1-3.
Which is insane.
It's just crazy that one of these teams will start 1-3.
No, I know, Robert, but you're scoring 40 points a game.
Really, Derek's had 3 fumbles, 2 of them, one at Buffalo,
Have
one
you
at
ever
Detroit.
seen Derek crash out that hard, by the way? I've never seen him get that emotional, publicly.
He slipped.
He did slip.
That's why he fell like that. He slipped. He wasn't
it's slick.
angry.
Those benches are slick. Trust me, I've done it before.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I do think the Ravens will cover though.
Yeah,
I don't think Derek's going to continue this fumble streak.
Robert, you are way more explosive than them. I know that they're healthy and you can't stop a nosebleed right now, but I just have to think that you can stick it to them because they do not score that way.
We have to go quickly, but here is my answer to that. I think the Ravens will lose whatever way the Chiefs win. Because, okay, if the Chiefs go up, we're not going to be able to stop them with the run because our defensive line is hurt and weak and Roquan is playing at a subpar level.
Can I interest you in a Tavondre Sweat?
I would be interested in either one of your defensive tackles. Throw in Sebastian Joseph Day. I will take any defensive tackle that is available.
Keep an eye on
Are you starting rumors?
No.
What if Vandy and Tennessee play to go to the playoff?
Final game of the stretch here. Titans at Texans. Texans are a touchdown and a half point favorites.
3 Jesus.
Go ahead.
7.5 points.
Go ahead.
Wow. I don't even know. I have stuff written down. I'm just laughing. This is obviously. I just think that is this one of those games where the offense hits a stride with C.J. Stroud, but they can't
run. They can't pass protect. He's inaccurate because of it.
I do think the Titans cover. There's something about when the Titans go to Houston, and I've been a part of games where it hasn't gone well down there and people get fired. I've also been a part of games where we had no business winning and we go down there and win. Last year, won a division down there. Double doink type stuff.
Sloman. Sam Sloman.
And we didn't even practice that week together because I was at home thinking I had COVID. So I think the Titans cover.
Texans by 10.
That's our games.
That's our games. Good to see you, bud.
Good to see you too.
Thanks for coming in. Go enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Good luck to Team USA in the Ryder Cup.
That's right.
And we will visit with Brett Kern on Monday. Last call for phone calls, and I've got some injury updates for you on the Titans front next. Ensure your retirement is the ultimate vacation. Call Trajan Wealth today because they want to put you in position to succeed. The fiduciary advisors at Trajan Wealth understand that no two retirement plans are the same. They offer guidance on a variety of financial objectives, including ways to earn higher potential returns and tax concerns. Let Trajan Wealth help you develop a plan that will meet your financial goals, whether it's just wealth management, whether it is that retirement planning, or whether it is tactical investments that are going to maximize your return. That's what Trajan Wealth offers you, just like they have for all of their clients. You can call them today at 615-270-5000. That's 615-270-5000. Visit them at their 2 locations here in Middle Tennessee, Brentwood and Franklin, or online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is a paid advertisement. Last call for phone calls, if you got them. Some updates from the Titans side of things. J.C. Latham is out for the 3rd straight week, so you will not have your starting right tackle. Oli Udoh will start. They're saying John Ojukwu will be inactive, and so Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, who they just signed to the 53, will be the swing tackle. I don't know if they'll do this Mickey Mouse nonsense where they essentially just rotate their right tackles all game. That seems dumb.
Being a Titans tackle has to feel like being a Mormon's wife. Like, is it me today? Do I get to no, I just have to do laundry and do dinner. I don't get to be his wife today.
Yeah, but at least the Mormons get to soak.
Yeah. It's a
You weren't ready for that one, were you?
I wasn't. It is Friday. I get fired.
Oh, so J.C. Latham out. Bryce Oliver also out. Kevin Zeitler will be the 8th captain for the Titans on Sunday, which means that he will play, which is at least some positive development. They are saying that Latham won't need surgery. This is from Jimmy Wyatt. Said he's feeling pretty good. Team wants to just give him extra time. Took him 2 weeks in camp to get back and right before he experienced that re-injury in the Broncos game that has since knocked him out. So, yeah, no J.C. Latham against one of the best pass rushes in football. Eric is in Nashville. Up next.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I got a question. I don't really even know if you can answer this much, but it's been on my mind this week. Do you think we're going to be any more explosive, or we're going to go more to the play action with Bo Hardegree? Because it seems, especially with Cam, our success has come from play action at times. And dating back the past couple of years, play action has always been the Titans' specialty. So I'm just curious on that. I'll actually be flying down for the game this weekend. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully I'll run into you. But
God bless you for putting yourself through that.
I'm looking forward to it. But thanks, guys.
Thanks for the call, Eric.
Enjoy your trip, buddy.
Yes. Have a safe flight. Also, great food in Houston. That's how I'm talking myself into not being miserable about this.
Isn't that the issue with Charles Barkley? He said all the women there are ugly, or is that a different? San Antonio. Dang.
Houston doing all right.
My apologies to all the Houston women.
Okay, so a couple of things here. Play action was your specialty because you had Derrick Henry. You no longer have Derrick Henry, and people don't respect your running game. I think that here's the best way that I can answer it. They are fine-tuning what Cam Ward does well, which would at this point indicate more opportunities to get him out on the move, more opportunity for him to throw on the run, more opportunity for them to utilize the play-action pass. They don't throw over the middle of the field very often because he seems to either he's struggling to identify things there, or it's just not necessarily a place where he's comfortable, which is interesting because they're having him work outside the numbers a lot, which is a much higher degree of difficulty for basically any other player. The problem with trying to guess at what they will be able to implement more of under Bo Hardegree is the fact that their penalties kill them. Their sacks kill them. They are operating in 3rd and 9 on average. It's unsustainable. That takes everything almost out of your playbook. So I can't tell you definitively what they will do or will not do because I can't tell you whether they will or will not stop committing an atrocious amount of penalties on that side. I assume that they are going to be in a hole as an offensive line unit because of who they're facing this week and that there will be false starts and that there will be sacks. Some of them will be on the quarterback. Some of them will be on the offensive line. Randy Jordan, Titans running back coach who apparently runs the screen game, did not answer questions yesterday. He was not requested because we did not know that he was responsible for their screen game, and then we all wanted to talk to Randy Jordan, and Randy Jordan was not available to speak yesterday.
I do not blame him.
All right, rapid fire polls. Yeah.
The polls brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the most trusted Ford dealership in all of the South. Do you agree or disagree with Brian Callahan's desperate messaging to the Titans this week? FOE Scoop says, hell no, just because he's desperate doesn't mean that he has to make the players feel that way. John Feely echoes that. I don't think the players believe in him, so it doesn't matter what message he tries to send.
Yeah, I just think don't make them have to answer questions about being desperate when they're not as desperate as you are, because you're desperate to have a job and they're just trying to get through a football season competently.
What's your biggest issue with Calvin Ridley as a Titans fan? I think V on Twitter says it best as anybody could say it. He made me believe this year would be different.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Which team will have a harder time covering this week? The Titans at +7 or the Vols at -7.5? The overwhelming favorite, the Titans at 85.9%.
Yeah, I think they lose by double digits, and the Texans are a bad football team. I've never seen a team as inefficient on offense favored by a whole-ass touchdown like the Texans are against these terrible Titans.
If you were wondering where Titans fans are at, I think this response to the next poll should tell you everything. What is the most positive moment in sports this week? He hit the Waldorf and Stantling. The Brian on Twitter says, when the Titans game ended, you know what my favorite part of the show is? The end. And it's our end.
I agree. Can we just sim to end on this godforsaken football season? All right. Off to Houston. On that note, Lee Company countdown to kickoff. 9 a.m. Fox Sports tomorrow. See ya.